Chapter 1123. The tree ring returned to its original appearance, but Ning Qing didn't plan to continue cultivating. After advancing to the Tao Essence realm, he had almost exhausted all of his cultivation resources. Therefore, there wasn't much point in continuing to cultivate. From Tao Transformation Realm to Tao Essence Realm, he estimated that it took him nearly 200 years. Calculating the time outside, it would be 4 to 5 hours. However, he didn't plan to go out right now. He wanted to see if he could find a tree branch with a tree ring. At the same time, he also wanted to see if he could reach the tree root with a tree ring in his Tao Essence realm. The tree ring belonged to someone else. After going out, he would need the permission of that person to come back in. Ning Qing directly stepped into the 50th ring mark. Soon, he passed through the 50th ring mark and entered the 51st ring, 52nd ring. The time Tao charm aura grew stronger and stronger. The passage of time was like a bone-scraping knife. Every time Ning Qing took a step forward, the Tao charm around him would be scraped by the passage of time. As for the bloody scars on his body, it was all because of the pain caused by the scraping of the Tao charm. Even after advancing to the Tao Essence realm, Ning Qing's Tao heart couldn't withstand the increasingly terrifying time Tao charm scars. At the 99th ring mark, Ning Qing finally stopped. It wasn't that he didn't want to go further and step into the 100th ring mark, but he really couldn't move even a little bit. The violent time Tao charm aura scraped against Ning Qing's body. Ning Qing had only experienced this kind of tearing pain when he experienced the mutation of his sea of consciousness. The tree root of the tree ring seemed to be far away. It seemed that he had to go through countless ring marks to reach it, but it also seemed that he only needed to cross one ring mark to reach it. Ning Qing endured the bone-scraping pain and didn't retreat. It wasn't that he wanted to be cheap, but he saw a little cyan sprout not far in front of him. It was a cyan sprout. This green sprout was growing between the 99th and 100th wheel mark of the annual ring, and it looked extremely delicate. The tree ring was transparent, and when Ning Qing entered the tree ring for the second time, he saw a touch of cyan. But now, he saw a cyan sprout, which made him wonder if the cyan sprout he saw when he entered the tree ring was the same cyan sprout. Even if Ning Qing was stupid, he would be able to tell that this green sprout was definitely not something ordinary. He couldn't get a tree branch with growth rings, but he definitely didn't want to let go of this sprout. Although Ning Qing was too eager to obtain this green sprout, although this green sprout was only a few feet away from him, these dozens of feet were like a heavenly chasm that was difficult for him to cross. The bone-scraping time Tao rhyme was becoming more and more difficult for him to bear. Perhaps in the next second he would be directly swept away. But he was really unwilling. He saw something he wanted, but he couldn't take it away. How could he be willing? When he got out of here, he could ask Phoenix Li for a branch. In Ning Qing's view, the possibility of Li Feng giving him the tree ring branch was not high. Before he started cultivating, he gave Li Feng a bottle of heavenly pill of Qian Yuan. In this kind of situation, Li Feng did not say that she could help him as much as she wanted. How could he be sure that Li Feng would give him a twig with annual rings? Kacha, the bone-scraping blade marks of time finally cut through Ning Qing's Tao charm and penetrated through his skin and flesh, breaking one of his bones. Ning Qing took in a deep breath and crazily circulated his spirit essence. He then started to burn his Tao charm. The moment the Tao charm started to burn, Ning Qing brought out the void cold light spear. The void cold light spear slowly stabbed out. A spear pattern appeared in the middle of the annual rings. This spear seemed to have pierced through the Tao charm of time and was as fast as an arrow. Time flew like an arrow, and the years flew like a shuttle. Ning Qing finally materialized the time Tao charm and used the time spirit technique to blast open the horrifying flow of the Tao charm of time. The void cold light spearhead emitted an aura of burning time, and the time Tao marks in front of Ning Qing finally weakened. Ning Qing took a step forward and raised his hand to pick up the cyan sapling. An extreme sense of weakness washed over him, causing Ning Qing to feel his cultivation rapidly retreating at this moment. He could no longer hold on for half a breath and started to retreat. Bang! The time Tao charm pushed Ning Qing from the edge of the intersection between the 99th and 100th rings to the 49th layer. The road that he had walked for half a month seemed to have been sent back to him in just a breath. Ning Cheng slumped to the ground and didn't have the time to look at the void cold light spear. Instead, he focused on the cyan sapling in his hand. Vitality, time, new life, vastness. The little cyan sapling gave off an endless aura of Dao charm. The more Ning Cheng looked at it, the more he liked it. He felt sure that this little bean sprout wasn't simple. His efforts were definitely worth it. He had picked up a treasure. Carefully placing the cyan-colored seedling into the mysterious yellow bead, he then instructed Chasing Bull to take good care of it. Only then did Ning Cheng start to restore his vitality. For this cyan sapling, he had burned his Dao charm. If not for his mysterious yellow formless being too powerful and his spirit essence reaching a terrifying level after advancing to the Dao essence realm, he wouldn't have dared to burn his Dao charm. If he dared to burn his Dao charm in the time scrape, his strength would have fallen from the Dao essence of the second step of Dao confirming to the Dao transformation realm. After staying in the 49th ring for another year, Ning Cheng stood up and prepared to go out. A year's time was only a few days outside. Ning Cheng knew that even if he stayed here for another year, he wouldn't be able to fully recover. The aftereffects of burning his Dao charm were too great. Fortunately, he had a better place, the Dragon Cleansing Pool. After leaving the mysterious very ancient clan, the first place he wanted to go was the Dragon Cleansing Pool. Pill Sage Ning, congratulations on reaching the Dao Essence realm. Ning Cheng had just walked out when Li Feng's warm congratulatory voice came over. Behind Li Feng, there were no longer just 3 people, but 6 or 7 people. Jean Malong, Huabing, and Xiao Mozi also followed. Li Feng's words were warm, but his heart was in turmoil. He didn't think that Ning Cheng would successfully advance to the Dao Essence Holy Emperor realm. Moreover, it only took him a little more than 4 years, less than 5 years. Even if Ning Cheng reached the 20th ring, 4 years outside was only less than 100 years. Even if Ning Cheng reached the 20th ring, he had never seen such a genius cultivation speed. Of course, he didn't know that Ning Cheng cultivated in the 49th ring. He also didn't know that Ning Cheng had gone to the 99th ring. If he knew, he wouldn't have been able to go there himself. However, he knew that Ning Cheng had taken away the inheritance tree's sapling from the ring. The inheritance tree's sapling had appeared when Ning Cheng cultivated last time, but he didn't have the opportunity to see it. This time, he took away Ning Cheng because the ring wanted to pass it on. Even if the ring wanted to pass it on, he had to take back the inheritance tree sapling. It would be best if he didn't offend Ning Cheng. The only thing that puzzled him or made him feel normal was that Ning Cheng's Dao runes were slightly weak and messy. His face was also a little pale, and his aura didn't feel like that of a real Dao Essence cultivator. He didn't understand because Ning Cheng had reached the Dao Essence realm. Even if he hadn't stabilized his cultivation, he shouldn't be like this. He felt that it was normal because he guessed that Ning Cheng had forcibly reached the Dao Essence realm, which resulted in an unstable foundation. In this case, it was hard to say whether Ning Cheng's choice was right or wrong. This kind of unstable foundation didn't mean that the foundation had been destroyed. It could be restored with a lot of time. Not only Li Feng, but the rest of the mysterious very ancient clan were also shocked by Ning Cheng's cultivation speed. He had advanced to the Dao Essence realm after entering the ring. Fortunately, the ring wasn't Ning Cheng's. If it were Ning Cheng's, wouldn't his cultivation realm be much higher? In fact, even if the ring belonged to Ning Cheng, his cultivation realm wouldn't have progressed that fast. The main Dao rune in the ring was the Time Dao rune. After Ning Cheng advanced to the Dao Essence realm, he could only comprehend spirit techniques in the ring. It wasn't realistic to use the ring to advance to the Primordial Chaos realm. The difference between Primordial Chaos and Dao Essence was that Primordial Chaos had its first blight. A true Primordial Chaos expert had to experience the first Deva's blight. The Time Dao rune law of the ring was too powerful and restricted the other law Dao runes between heaven and earth. The Primordial Chaos realm was a comprehensive integration of heaven and earth's Dao law. Ning Cheng quickly said politely, "I can reach the Dao Essence realm in such a short time thanks to Clan Headley for letting me cultivate in the ring." Li Feng politely said, "Since Alchemy Sage Ning reached the Dao Essence realm, my mysterious very ancient clan has prepared some wine to celebrate with alchemy sage Ning. I wonder what alchemy sage Ning thinks? After Ning Qing reached the Tao Essence realm, he had a lot of things to discuss with Li Feng. Therefore, he naturally wouldn't refuse Li Feng's invitation. This time, Li Feng only brought Jin Malong, Hua Bing, and Xiao Mozi to invite Ning Qing. The others didn't come with him. The wine brewed by the mysterious very ancient clan wasn't as good as the none to depend on wine, but it had a mellow characteristic. The mysterious very ancient clan wanted to befriend Ning Qing, and Ning Qing also wanted to win over the mysterious very ancient clan. The atmosphere between the two sides was harmonious, and the more they talked, the more congenial they became. Li Feng had already made up his mind that if Ning Qing asked him to help deal with Man Huishan, he would send a primordial chaos expert. Not in the name of the mysterious very ancient clan, but in the name of Ning Qing's friend. Of course, this person couldn't be from the mysterious very ancient clan. But even after chatting for a few hours, Ning Qing didn't mention anything about helping. Since Ning Qing didn't mention it, Li Feng naturally wouldn't talk about it. Even if Ning Qing didn't mention it for a few days and nights, he wouldn't take the initiative to mention it. He was thinking about how to bring up the topic of the ring inheritance. At this moment, Ning Qing suddenly brought up the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws. If the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws hadn't shattered, I believe no one would want to go to the Grand Change Realm. Jin Malong agreed, that's right. The Grand Essence Realm and the Grand Change Realm are on the same level. The reason why the Grand Change Realm is so attractive is because the Grand Change Realm's heaven and earth laws are complete. Ning Qing echoed and then asked, Clan Headley, do you think the Grand Essence Realm's broken laws can be repaired? Li Feng didn't think too much about it and just shook his head. Repairing the Grand Essence Realm's boundary would be difficult. Ning Qing felt happy when he heard this. Li Feng only said that it would be difficult, but he didn't say that it couldn't be repaired. Therefore, he quickly asked, why? Li Feng said with a straight face, to repair a top-grade boundary like the Grand Essence Realm, you would need the Primal Chaos First Tree. Moreover, the Grand Essence Realm's earth veins are severely damaged. Maybe you would even need the World Mountain. Doesn't that mean that if we can find the Primal Chaos First Tree and the World Mountain, we can repair the Grand Essence Realm? Ning Qing asked, but his heart had already turned cold. It was called the Primal Chaos First Tree. It would be strange if he could find it. Chapter 11:24. Li Feng smiled. That's not realistic. Let's not talk about the fact that no one will find the Chaos Tree and the World Mountain at the same time. Even if someone found it, would he be willing to use it to repair an interface? He had to admit that Li Feng was right. Even if someone had these two things, would they be willing to use them to repair the Grand Essence Realm? If he had the Chaos Tree and World Mountain, maybe he would be willing to use them to repair the Grand Essence Realm. He was willing because he had the mysterious yellow bead and wanted to make the Grand Essence Realm his base. After experiencing the events in the Grand Change Realm and the Boundless Realm Palace, Ning Qing understood the importance of having his own lair. But others obviously didn't think so. These things are not for us to consider. I wonder if Pil Sage Ning has any plans? Li Feng took the initiative to ask on seeing Ning Cheng's silence. Apart from the Chaos Tree and the World Mountain, are there no other treasures that can repair a world? Ning Qing didn't answer but asked another question. Although Li Feng was a little confused, she still replied, no. For example, there are other ways to repair the Grand Essence Realm, but these methods are much more difficult than using the Chaos Tree and World Mountain. Elder Li Feng, please give me some pointers. Ning Qing stood up and bowed, before sitting down. At this time, Li Feng understood that Ning Qing really wanted to know how to repair the Grand Essence Realm and not just casually asking about it. Do you want to repair the Grand Essence Realm? Li Feng guessed that Ning Qing wanted to repair the Grand Essence Realm, but he still asked. Ning Qing spoke in a very serious manner. If it is possible, then I really do have such an idea. Of course, my cultivation is still low right now, but one day I will be able to reach that level. Li Feng did not doubt that Ning Qing was just bragging about his cultivation, as he had personally witnessed Ning Qing's cultivation speed. Maybe one day, Ning Qing would really be able to do it? Ning Cheng's cultivation speed was so fast, in addition to his genius qualifications, there must be some other unknown secrets to him. Thinking of this, Li Feng also replied with a serious tone. In fact, repairing a top-grade interface like the Grand Essence Realm requires a lot of heaven-defying things. Among the 5 great realms, the Grand Essence Realm wasn't as damaged as the Grand Beginning Realm. It was said that the meridians of the Great Beginning Realm had been completely destroyed, and the interface had even been broken into a few pieces. The Grand Essence Realm only had its laws of heaven and earth broken, the Tao of Samsara. The Grand Essence Realm's reincarnation Tao was broken? Ning Qing asked in surprise. Li Feng nodded. Yes, except for the Great Change Realm, the other 4 great realms have different degrees of destruction, and the difficulty of repairing them is also different. There was another way to repair the Grand Essence Realm, and that was to use the Primal Chaos 5 soils plus the 5-element Spirit Water. In addition, you also need the 7 Bridges Realm Book. 7 Bridges Realm Book? Can this repair the Grand Essence Realm? Ning Cheng asked in surprise. The 7 Bridges Realm Book was on him. Ning Cheng had obtained this book from the Formless sect and had hidden it in a stone stele. Ning Cheng had always thought that it was just a spirit technique, but he never expected that it could also repair the Grand Essence Realm. Li Feng shook her head. The 7 Bridges Realm Book doesn't repair the Grand Essence Realm, but the Grand Essence Realm's Samsara Tao. Not only is the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws broken, but the Samsara Tao is also broken. Ning Cheng suddenly remembered that he had been to the Grand Essence E Netherworld and immediately spoke up. I've been to the Grand Essence E Netherworld. There are indeed endless Een souls fighting there, unable to reincarnate. But I saw a soul crossing bridge there. As long as you cross the soul crossing bridge, you will have a chance to enter the Samsara passage. Li Feng sighed. You also know that you have to cross the soul crossing bridge to have a chance to enter the Samsara passage. In fact, when the Grand Essence Realm was complete, the Grand Essence E Netherworld had 7 bridges, but there was no soul crossing bridge. Someone else built the soul crossing bridge in the Grand Essence E Netherworld later? Ning Cheng finally understood. Since the soul crossing bridge wasn't something that originally belonged to the Grand Essence E Netherworld, it meant that someone controlled the Grand Essence E Netherworld. Most likely, the soul crossing bridge was for some ulterior purpose. Seeing Ning Cheng understand, Li Feng didn't explain further and continued. Not to mention the Primal Chaos 5 soils, even the 5-element Spirit Water wouldn't be as difficult to obtain as the Chaos Tree. The 5-element Spirit Water is the Primal Chaos Divine Water formed when the Good Fortune world opened. How could ordinary people obtain it? Ning Cheng sucked in a breath of cold air. Repairing the Grand Essence Realm was already terrifying. Moreover, the 5-element Spirit Water was something he urgently needed. It was a treasure he wanted to refine the Good Fortune Divine Spear. Even if he had it, could he take it out to repair the Grand Essence Realm? It's good that Pil Sage Ning has the heart, but it's too difficult. Li Feng sighed when she saw Ning Cheng finally fall silent. Those selfish people snatched things for themselves and didn't care about their descendants. If I have the ability in the future, I will definitely pull out those fellows who broke the 5 grand realms and give them a good beating. Jean Malong spoke with hatred. Li Feng scolded, Malong, don't talk nonsense. It's not our turn to intervene in seniors' matters. Clan Headley, does the Primal Chaos 5 soils include the Breath Soil? Ning Cheng finally didn't continue to remain silent. Li Feng replied, yes, the Breath Soil ranks first. The other 4 soils are the Steadying Soil, Gung Soil, Releasing Soil, and Balance Soil. Although the other 4 soils are extremely rare, they can still be seen occasionally. Only the Breath Soil's name is heard of. At the beginning of the world, all kinds of soil came into contact with the laws of heaven and earth, fused with the aura of the 5 elements, and turned ordinary. Only the Breath Soil, Steadying Soil, Gung Soil, Releasing Soil, and Balance Soil can protect themselves, hide their aura, and preserve a breath of Primal Chaos Essence Chi. Once these 5 soils merge together, they will also turn ordinary and merge with the laws of heaven and earth, giving birth to the aura of the origin of all things. This is the fundamental power to repair the Grand Essence Realm. Clan Headley, if you can find these things you mentioned, can you repair the Grand Essence Realm? Ning Cheng looked at Li Feng and asked with a cautious tone. Li Feng already understood Ning Cheng's meaning. Although he knew that it was impossible, he still felt moved by Ning Cheng's ambition. He stood up, bowed to Ning Cheng, and said, "Pil Sage Ning, regardless of whether you can find these things or not, I respect you for your dedication to the Grand Essence Realm. In fact, even if you find these things, you can't perfectly repair the Grand Essence Realm." Without waiting for Ning Cheng to ask again, Li Feng took the initiative to speak up. "Apart from these things, you also need a tree to repair the Grand Essence Realm. That is my mysterious crossing ancient clan's growth rings." Not only Ning Cheng, but even the rest of the people were shocked. The growth ring was the mysterious crossing ancient clan's most precious treasure. Even if Ning Cheng had this ambition and found the treasure to repair the Grand Essence Realm, it would be useless without the growth ring tree. Li Feng looked at the location of the growth ring in the distance and said with a deep tone, "The mysterious crossing ancient clan had the growth ring because the Grand Essence Realm's laws were broken." After a long time, he retracted his gaze and stared at Ning Cheng. "Pil Sage Ning, if one day you can really collect those things and prepare to repair the Grand Essence Realm, my mysterious crossing ancient clan is willing to take out the growth ring." Ning Cheng's countenance suddenly changed. He had seen too many academy heads, and had also seen too many powerhouses. Only in Li Feng did he see the same feelings as Si Qin and Qiu Tian. Li Feng, in order to refine the mysterious crossing ancient clan, had always been cautious in his dealings with Ning Cheng. Only when it came to repairing the Grand Essence Realm did he act so boldly. He could even take out his growth rings. How could an ordinary person do that? Clan head? Even if he knew that Ning Cheng couldn't find the Primal Chaos 5 soils, he also knew that Ning Cheng couldn't obtain the 5 Elements Spirit Water or the 7 Bridges Realm Book. Jean Malong and the others still stood up in shock after hearing Li Feng's words. Li Feng waved his hand and motioned for the others to sit down. Ning Cheng quickly stood up and bowed. Clan head Li's sentiments make Ning Cheng feel ashamed. "I also plan to borrow a tree branch from Clan head." Li Feng interrupted Ning Cheng. "Pil Sage Ning, even if the growth ring has a branch, it can't grow. The inheritance of the growth ring isn't a branch, but a small cyan root bud." In the face of Li Feng's words, how could Ning Cheng hide the small seedling he obtained from the growth ring? He was just about to stand up and explain when Li Feng raised his hand again and stopped Ning Cheng. "If I hadn't listened to Pil Sage Ning, I would have taken it back." Pil Sage Ning's words made me understand that no matter how powerful my mysterious crossing ancient clan is, we can't rush out of the Grand Essence Realm. We can only live in a corner and can't even leave the Grand Essence Sea. For so many years, I've tried to reach the Dao Unification Realm but couldn't because the laws here are broken. As for the growth ring, if you want to repair the Grand Essence Realm's time vein laws, you can't do it without millions of years. I hope that Pil Sage Ning will take good care of the opportunity you obtained. In the future, you can really find the treasure to repair the Grand Essence Realm and restore the Grand Essence Realm. Ning Cheng fully understood Li Feng's meaning. He obtained a small seedling from the growth ring, and Li Feng knew about it. Originally, Li Feng wanted to find an excuse to take back the small seedling without hurting the friendship between them. However, after listening to Ning Cheng's ambitions, he gave up on his original plan. "Ning Cheng will not let you down." Ning Cheng spoke with a respectful tone. What he respected wasn't Li Feng's cultivation and status, but Li Feng's dedication to repairing the Grand Essence Realm. Li Feng nodded. "Pil Sage Ning came to my mysterious crossing ancient clan. Apart from cultivation, do you want to ask for my help?" When Ning Cheng heard these words, he immediately felt a bit more relaxed in his heart. He knew that Li Feng was definitely ready to help them, as such was the reason why she said those words. Otherwise, even if he said it, Li Feng wouldn't agree. "Clan head, please understand. I came here with this intention. I also know that it's a bit difficult, but if Clan head doesn't want to, Ning Cheng can understand." Ning Cheng spoke with sincerity. Li Feng showed a slight smile. "If it were before, I wouldn't have thought about helping you. But now, even if you don't look for me, I will help you." Because you have to kill Man Suotian. Otherwise, what you said just now would be empty. But Ning Cheng asked in confusion. Li Feng spoke in a deep voice, because Man Suyin has Gung soil on him. When Man Huishan and I were still in the Tao Essence realm, Gung soil appeared in the Grand Essence ruins. Man Suotian's strength was slightly better than mine, and he managed to grab the Gung soil. Now that Pill Sage Ning has taken on the responsibility of repairing the Grand Essence realm, Gung soil is indispensable. Ning Cheng felt overjoyed. With Li Feng, a half-step Tao integration expert, helping him, Man Suyin would be one step closer to death. What's more, he also got news about Gung soil. Maybe one day, he could really gather all 5 primal chaos soils and repair the entire Grand Essence realm. Many thanks, Clan Headley. Ning Cheng will not let Clan Head down. Ning Cheng's gratitude came from the bottom of his heart. Li Feng, however, didn't show much joy. Pill Sage Ning, Man Suyin and I had similar cultivation. But now, Man Suyin has long since abandoned me. It won't be easy to kill Man Suotian. Does Pill Sage Ning have any arrangements? Chapter 11:25. Ning Cheng smiled. He had no plans to kill Man Suyin, so how could he dare to find Man Suyin? I can set up a top-notch divine array and invite at least 3 primordial chaos experts at the same time. As long as I can lure Man Suotian into my entrapment array and trap him, if a few Tao fusion powerhouses can contain most of Man Suotian's energy, I'm confident that I can seriously injure or even kill Man Suotian. Ning Cheng spoke with confidence. Li Feng asked in surprise. Pill Sage Ning, you can arrange top-grade spirit arrays? Are you a top-grade spirit array master? Ning Cheng came from the Pill Association, so it wasn't surprising for him to invite a few Tao fusion powerhouses. Ning Cheng was a top-grade spirit array master. Ning Cheng spoke with certainty. Clan Headley, please believe me. I've come into contact with the Alchemy Tao, Blacksmithing Tao, and Array Tao. My strongest aspect isn't the Alchemy Tao or the Blacksmithing Tao, but the Array Tao. Ning Cheng didn't say this to ease Li Feng's heart, but because his Array Tao ranked first among everything he learned. It wasn't because he had more talent in the Array Tao, but because he spent the most time on the Array Tao. Coupled with the Jade Strip Nyenyen left him with experience in the Array Tao, it helped him reach a higher level. He could come out of the Perpetual Moon sect not only because he cultivated the Sea of Twilight Sunset's twilight, but also because of his powerful Array Tao. Alchemy Tao, Array Tao, and Blacksmithing Tao were all involved. Li Feng also touched upon the Alchemy Tao, Blacksmithing Tao, and Array Tao. She even touched upon the Talisman Tao. In fact, any Tao confirming Holy Emperor would touch upon this knowledge. The key was that Ning Cheng's words were too shocking. Ning Cheng said that his strongest aspect wasn't the Alchemy Tao, but the Array Tao. One had to know that Ning Cheng was a primordial Tao Pill Saint, the #1 Alchemy Tao cultivator in the entire Grand Essence realm. Seeing Li Feng's surprise for a long time, Ning Cheng took out his Void Cold Light Spear and said, Clan Headley, this is a long spear that I refine myself. Although my Blacksmithing Tao is top-notch, it still can't compare to my Array Tao. As for my Alchemy Tao, I believe that Clan Headley has already seen it from that bottle of Heavenly Essence Heavenly Pills. Li Feng's gaze then fell on the Void Cold Light Spear in Ning Cheng's hand. A powerful Tao charm radiated from it, indicating that it was a top-grade, top-quality spirit artifact. The only pity was that the spearhead of the Void Cold Beam spear seemed to have been partially corroded by the Tao runes, causing the grade of the spear to drop. Li Feng took a deep breath and let Ning Cheng put away the Void Cold Light Spear. Only then did she speak up in a serious tone. Pill Sage Ning, I believe in your attainments in the Tao of Arrays. When you make your move, let me know. Shao Mozi and I will take action. He didn't ask Ning Cheng, a Tao Essence Divine Emperor, how could he injure Man Suotian? He believed that Ning Cheng wouldn't speak without thinking. Ning Cheng heaved a sigh of relief. With Li Feng, a half-step Tao integration expert, and Shao Mozi, a primordial chaos expert, joining them, he could relax a lot. As for seriously injuring Man Suotian, Ning Cheng didn't speak carelessly. As long as Man Suotian got entangled in the entrapment array, 5 or 6 Dao fusion experts would attack him at the same time. At that time, Ning Cheng was confident that he could use the 5-colored star splitter arrow to inflict serious damage to Man Suotian. As long as he heavily injured Man Suotian, he could forget about escaping. The 5-colored star splitter arrow couldn't be exposed, especially when his cultivation was still low. But now that he had confirmed his Dao essence and was the leader of the Pill Association, even if they knew that he had the 5-colored star splitter arrow, not many people would dare to have any ideas about it. It could even be said that with his cultivation at this level, the 5-colored star splitter arrow would be safer. After exchanging communication pearls with Li Feng and the others, Ning Cheng left the mysterious crossing ancient clan. He had burned his Dao charm, but his cultivation had yet to recover. Therefore, he wanted to head to the dragon cleansing pool to restore his cultivation first. Patriarch. As soon as Ning Cheng left, Xiao Mozi and the others asked in confusion. Li Feng had absolute prestige in the mysterious crossing ancient clan, so he agreed to take out the life ring. After all, Ning Cheng couldn't obtain the primal chaos 5 soil and the 5-element spirit water. But the patriarch agreed to deal with Man Suotian, which was not in line with the mysterious crossing ancient clan stance. Li Feng looked at the stone platform Ning Cheng teleported to and sighed. If there is someone who can repair the Grand Essence Realm, that person must be Ning Cheng. Why? Hua Bing felt puzzled. Ning Cheng's cultivation speed is so fast that I suspected that he had a top-grade treasure. Later, after learning that he needed the 5-element spirit water to repair the Grand Essence Realm, he still wanted to give it a try. From this, we can see that Ning Cheng most likely has a good fortune treasure. Several people exclaimed at the same time. Ning Cheng possessed a good fortune treasure. How was this possible? Li Feng didn't explain. After Ning Cheng cultivated inside the growth ring for the first time, the growth ring had a touch of cyan, which contained the Dao charm of a new life. He knew that it was highly possible that a new inheritance had appeared in the tree ring because of Ning City. The reason why Nianlun was interested in a person was not only because of his cultivation speed. There must be other reasons. When Ning Cheng entered the tree ring for the second time to cultivate, the cyan color was still there. When Ning Cheng came out of the growth ring, the cyan color had already disappeared. What did this mean? This meant that Ning Cheng had taken away the new inheritance in the life ring. However, he couldn't sense any life ring aura from Ning Cheng. The only possibility was that Ning Cheng had a top-grade law treasure on him that concealed the life ring aura. What kind of treasure could conceal the aura of life rings? If it wasn't a chaos treasure, then it was a fortune treasure. Most likely, the life ring chose Ning Cheng's inheritance because of this treasure. Later, when Ning Cheng learned that he needed the 5-element spirit water to repair the Grand Essence Realm, he still wanted to look for it. This made him even more certain that Ning Cheng had a good fortune treasure on him. I know, Ning Cheng also has the 7 Bridges Realm book? Hua Bing suddenly said. Li Feng nodded. There are rumors that Ning Cheng knows the 7 Bridges spirit technique, which means that the 7 Bridges Realm book is most likely on him. Pill Sage Ning is a person with great luck. If he really found a treasure to repair the Grand Essence Realm, my mysterious crossing ancient clan is willing to take out the life ring. Because the life ring doesn't belong to the mysterious crossing ancient clan. It originally belonged to the Grand Essence Realm. If the Grand Essence Realm is truly repaired, my mysterious crossing ancient clan would also benefit greatly. As for dealing with Man Suotian, I even agreed to take out the life ring. So why can't I deal with Man Suotian? Ning Cheng didn't know what Li Feng was thinking. But even if he knew, he still felt grateful to Li Feng. At his cultivation realm, even the top 10 sects wouldn't be able to snatch his things. At this time, Ning Cheng was sitting in the dragon cleansing pool to restore his cultivation and Dao charm. The dragon cleansing pool was an excellent place to restore Dao charm and heal injuries. In just over 3 months, the aftereffects of Ning Cheng burning his Dao charm disappeared, and his cultivation stabilized. 3 months later, Ning Cheng left the dragon cleansing pool. He sent a message to Cheng Hotian and Li Feng. After arranging a meeting place, he went to the Sunken Fish Palace. The Sunken Fish Palace was one of the top 10 sects, and Ning Cheng had a good relationship with Zhen Rushuan. Sun Rushuan even agreed to let Ning Cheng borrow the sunken fish ice pool for cultivation. Ning Cheng naturally didn't come to the sunken fish palace to find Sun Rushuan. Sun Rushuan had a Dao essence cultivation. Although she was an expert in the grand essence realm, she still wasn't strong enough to deal with Man Sotin. He came to the sunken fish palace to find Palace Master Luan of the sunken fish palace. Palace Master Luan was a powerful primordial chaos cultivator, and her strength was probably a level higher than Protector Ju. If he could pull Palace Master Luan to his side, he would have more confidence in dealing with Man Sutian. Who are you? How dare you break into my sunken fish palace? Ning Cheng had just used the jade card given to him by Sun Rushuan to open the defense array when two female cultivators stopped him. Ning Cheng handed the jade card in his hand to one of the female cultivators and said, "Please tell Elder Sun Rushuan that an old friend has come to visit." The female cultivator took Ning Cheng's jade card and looked at Ning Cheng doubtfully before saying, "Dao friend, please wait for a moment." Ning Cheng didn't have to wait long. In just a dozen breaths, Sun Rushuan walked over with a smile. Seeing Sun Rushuan's smile, Ning Cheng secretly heaved a sigh of relief. If Sun Rushuan's face showed the slightest bit of embarrassment, he would have left immediately. "I didn't expect it to be you. Please come in." Sun Rushuan smiled and led Ning Cheng into the sunken fish palace. Compared to the simplicity of the mysterious very ancient clan, the sunken fish palace could be described as luxurious. Even the jade pillars on the side of the road had Dao runes carved on them. After walking for less than half a mile, Sun Rushuan brought Ning Cheng into the guest room, which had a strong feminine atmosphere. After asking Ning Cheng to sit down and personally pouring a cup of spirit tea for him, Sun Rushuan said with a smile, "Thank you, Pill Sage Ning, for refining pills for my sunken fish palace last time. It's my honor to have you here today." Ning Cheng knew that Sun Rushuan was a shrewd person, so he said directly, "Senior Sister Rushuan, I'm here to ask for your help. You want to avenge Guild Master Sichin?" Before Ning Cheng could say what he wanted, Sun Rushuan took the initiative to say it. Ning Cheng nodded. "That's right. I do want to kill Man Suyin to avenge Guild Master Sichin." Sun Rushuan shook her head without hesitation and said, "Pill Sage Ning, my sunken fish palace owes you a great debt of gratitude. However, we know very well the strength of our sunken fish palace. We don't have the qualifications to fight against Man Suotin. If it were anything else, even if I, Sun Rushuan, had to die, I would not hesitate to do it. But this matter, it's not that I can't help you with this matter. Tell me why I want to help you, and how confident you are." Sun Rushuan's words were interrupted by a voice. Sun Rushuan quickly stood up and said to the woman standing at the door, "Sister Luan, why are you here?" Ning Cheng also stood up and said a single sentence. "Without the sunken fish palace joining, I have 70% confidence. If Palace Master Luan joins, I have 80% confidence." After saying that, Ning Cheng raised his hand and threw out several array discs. At the same time, a long black arrow suspended in the void. Palace Master Luan and Sun Rushuan's expressions changed. They soon understood that Ning Cheng wasn't going to fight, but to show off his strength. Although these array discs are powerful, they have no effect on Man Suotin. However, the 5-colored star splitter arrow does have some capital. Palace Master Luan's eyes glowed as she stared at the 5-colored star splitter arrow. Only now did she discover that Ning Cheng was already a Dao essence powerhouse. "I refined these array discs within the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn. It only shows that I'm a divine array master who can arrange top-grade spirit arrays. That's all. Apart from you, I also invited at least 5 primordial chaos holy emperors," Ning Cheng said calmly. Palace Master Luan took a deep breath. "I'll join. Tell me about your promise after killing Man Suyin." Chapter 11:26. Palace Master Luan wanted to explain some things. After all, no matter how confident they were in killing Man Suotian, they had to be prepared. If the barbarian dragon tribe hadn't severely restricted the sunken fish palace, Palace Master Luan wouldn't have agreed to Ning Cheng's offer. Ning Cheng didn't wait for her and went to the Sea Dragon Sacred City first. He made an appointment with the others to meet at the Sea Dragon Sacred City's Sunken Fish Palace rest house. Ning Cheng had been to the Sea Dragon Sacred City once and saved Mo, an ascetic cultivator. This time, Ning Cheng sighed in his heart. The last time he came here, he had been chased by a Tao Essence Divine Emperor and fled here. This time, he came here to kill a Tao integration expert. Ning Cheng wasn't in the mood to stroll around the Sea Dragon Sacred City. It was easy to kill a Tao integration expert, but it wasn't easy to do it. Just as Ning Cheng was about to enter the Sunken Fish Palace rest house, a thin old man with a stooped back slowly walked past Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng subconsciously glanced at the old man. He was familiar with the old man's aura, as if he had seen it somewhere before. However, Ning Cheng soon felt relieved. This old man seemed to be at the end of his lifespan and had a deathly aura around him. Ning Cheng naturally saw those who were at the end of their lifespans. Ning Cheng shook his head. If he couldn't reach the third step in the future, he might follow in the footsteps of this stooped old man. No matter how much lifespan one had, it would run out one day. In the Sea Dragon Sacred City's Sunken Fish Palace rest house, Ning Cheng waited for about half a day before Palace Master Luan arranged everything and came here. The two chatted for a while before Li Feng and Xiao Mozi arrived. Seeing Li Feng, Palace Master Luan's expression changed. After knowing that Ning Cheng was the new association master of the Elixir Association, she knew that Ning Cheng wasn't lying when he said that he could invite a few primordial chaos divine emperors. Although the Elixir Association wasn't as cohesive as the other sects, it had the most primordial chaos divine emperors in the Great Essence Realm. However, she didn't expect that Ning Cheng could invite the mysterious very ancient clan, one of the 10 major sects, and even Li Feng to help him. Li Feng was a half-step Tao integration expert. Her help meant that Ning Cheng had a lot of confidence. After the four of them greeted each other, Cheng Ho Tian arrived. Along with Cheng Ho Tian were 4 other people. Apart from Cheng Ho Tian, there were 2 other primordial origin protectors, Zhu Fanghen and Jiao Xen, and a female cultivator. Ning Cheng also knew this female cultivator. She was the Pill Association's Tao Transformation Pill God Qingyi Holy Emperor. She was also the Deputy Association Master and a Tao Essence Holy Emperor. The last person was like a middle-aged scholar, looking extraordinary and refined. Ning Cheng quickly stood up and said, "Brother Ho Tian, Protector Zhu, Protector Jiao, and Holy Emperor Qingyi, please take a seat." Then, he looked at the middle-aged scholar and said, "This must be the Tao Transformation Alchemy Saint of the Elixir Association, Alchemy Saint Bei Caixia?" Cheng Hotian quickly said, "That's right, this is Pill Sage Bei. Bei Caixia, Sacred Emperor Qin Yi, and company also went forward and bowed. Greetings, Guild Master." "Guild Master, you are already at the primordial Tao realm?" Protector Zhu looked at Ning Cheng in shock. He never expected that Ning Cheng would advance to the Tao Essence realm in such a short time. Ning Cheng quickly spoke up, "It's only because of the mysterious very ancient clan's annual ring cultivation that I managed to achieve such an effect. Come, let me introduce you all." After some introductions, everyone realized how many experts Ning Cheng had invited to deal with Man Suotian. There were 6 primordial chaos experts. Cheng Ho Tian had perfected the heavenly Tao essence realm and was almost a half-step primordial chaos expert. Ning Cheng himself had the weakest cultivation level, at the early stage primordial Tao essence realm. As for the mysterious very ancient clan's patriarch, Li Feng, he was a half-step Tao integration expert. With such a lineup, coupled with the fact that they were unprepared, the chances of killing Man Suotian would greatly increase. "Guild Master Ning, I have long wanted to avenge Guild Master Sichin. However, I know that I would only die if I went alone. Now that you are our Elixir Association's Guild Master, we will listen to you. We will do whatever you say." Protector Zhu was a man of few words. However, he and Sichin Qiu-Tian had a life-and-death friendship. Now that Sichin Qiu-Tian had been killed, how could he not come out to avenge him? Palace Master Luan also said, "Guild Master Ning, tell us about the plan. What should we do?" Ning Cheng nodded. "Then I will explain it in detail. Man Suotian is so strong that we can't deal with him one-on-one. If we let Man Suotian escape, it would be our failure." No one spoke. Once an expert like Man Suotian escaped, it would be a disaster for the rest of the sections. I want to use a month to arrange the time lock spirit array around the barbarian dragon clan. I believe that this array formation can lock Man Suotian for a few breaths of time, as long as everyone attacks Man Suotian during this time. Time lock spirit array? Before Ning Cheng could finish, Palace Master Luan interrupted Ning Cheng in shock and stared at Ning Cheng in shock. The time lock spirit array was the pinnacle of spirit arrays. In the entire Grand Essence realm, no one could arrange it. This array formation not only locked space, but it also used the laws of time to lock space. This array formation was beyond the understanding of ordinary spirit array masters. Guild Master Ning, are you sure you can arrange the time lock spirit array? Bai Caixia asked in a deep voice. She wasn't familiar with Ning Cheng. However, Ning Cheng was just a Dao Essence Holy Emperor and a Dao Essence Pill Saint. If Ning Cheng could arrange the time lock spirit array, it meant that Ning Cheng was also a top-grade spirit array master. Putting all these together, Bai Caixia couldn't believe it. Ning Cheng looked at everyone's eyes and said with certainty, I'm sure I can arrange the time lock spirit array. As long as I arrange the time lock spirit array, no matter how powerful Man Suotian is, he wouldn't be able to escape this calamity. The only thing I'm worried about is that Man Suotian would discover me before I arrange the time lock spirit array. Everyone suddenly fell silent. With Ning Cheng's cultivation, it would be difficult to arrange an array formation without Man Suotian discovering him. Ning Cheng quickly said, Everyone, don't worry. I have a set of concealment methods. As long as we don't get too close to the barbarian dragon clan, even a Dao Perfection Realm expert might not be able to discover us. What if he discovers us? Palace Master Luan said with a frown. If he discovers us, we'll just besiege him. I believe that 6 Dao primordial experts can hold Man Suotian back for a while. Ning Cheng gave a simple reply. He didn't believe that Man Suotian could escape his arrow now that he had advanced to the Dao Essence realm. Palace Master Luan shook her head. Without your time lock spirit array, we might be able to win. But it would be difficult to stop Man Suotian. Man Suotian might not have crossed the second blight of Dao Perfection, but if he succeeded, he would definitely have crossed the first primordial blight. When Ning Cheng heard the words first primordial blight, his heart suddenly moved, and he immediately stood up. Association Master Ning, what's wrong? Palace Master Luan looked at Ning Cheng in confusion. Ning Cheng quickly said, Wait for me. I'll be right back. After saying that, Ning Cheng rushed out of the rest stops box. He finally remembered why the stooped old man had a familiar aura. It was the aura of Deva's blight. Back in Jiaoliang Mountain, when he snatched the true young heart, he had encountered a black-robed woman who was crossing the first primordial blight. The woman's weak aura was very similar to that of the stooped old man he had seen before. Moreover, that stooped old man's weak aura was even stronger than the black-robed woman's. The only explanation was that the stooped old man was not only crossing the Deva's blight but also the second blight of Dao Perfection. In the Grand Essence realm, anyone who could cross the second blight of Dao Perfection was definitely an expert among experts. Now that he knew about it, how could Ning Cheng miss it? To Ning Cheng's relief, he didn't walk for long before he saw an old man sitting on the side of a dilapidated street. From a distance, the thin, stooped old man looked like a beggar, weak and helpless. I'd like to invite you for a cup of spirit tea. What do you think, friend? Ning Cheng walked up to the old man and said calmly. The old man raised his head and opened his blank eyes to look at Ning Cheng, but he didn't speak. Ning Cheng said again, I know you're crossing the second primordial blight, the Dao Perfection blight. I have something that I want to ask you for help with. Of course, I won't let you do it for free. Although Ning Cheng had guessed the old man's identity, he also knew that the old man actually had a small grudge against him. However, given the other party's identity as a Dao Perfection expert, he probably wouldn't take such a small matter to heart. When the old man heard Ning Cheng's words, his eyes suddenly flashed. He didn't expect that someone in the Sea Dragon Sacred City would know that he was crossing the Dao Perfection blight. Not to mention that the other party was only an early-stage primordial Dao cultivator. Even if he was a primordial chaos holy emperor, Had he ever seen someone crossing the Tao Perfection Blight? Since he hadn't seen it before, how could he recognize that he was crossing the Tao Perfection Blight? The old man slowly walked towards a rest house and didn't seem to look at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng knew that he had agreed to his suggestion, but Ning Cheng didn't dare to make any moves against him. Even if he was crossing the Tao Perfection Blight, he absolutely couldn't afford to offend such an expert. After more than 10 breaths, Ning Cheng and the old man were already sitting in a private room of a rest house. The old man said calmly, "Although I'm crossing the second primordial blight, killing you is still as easy as killing a chicken." Ning Cheng wanted to make a fair deal with everyone, but he didn't expect the old man to speak so rudely. Moreover, he had guessed the old man's identity, so his tone became a little unhappy. "It's not the first time I've seen a Tao Perfection Holy Emperor, but that's all. Like me, we're both at the second step of Tao confirming. No one is more noble than the other. You're like a rat on the street. I don't need to call you a friend. My Qiqiao can really kill you like a rat." "Qiqiao?" The old man looked up at Ning Cheng. "You're Ning Cheng of the Pill Association, the primordial Tao Pill Saint?" Ning Cheng said calmly, "You have some eyesight. Maybe when you cross the second primordial blight, I'll already be a primordial chaos holy emperor. So, no matter what, it's better to be polite. Not to mention that I have some unhappiness with your sect." Many people knew about his Seven Bridges divine ability, so Ning Cheng didn't want to hide anything. Chapter 11:27. Do you know who I am? The stooped old man stared at Ning Cheng in puzzlement. He really could not figure out how Ning Cheng recognized him. Ning Cheng spoke up unhurriedly. "If I didn't guess wrong, you're called Shuiying from River Luo's sacred sect." The old man felt relieved. There are only a few Tao integration cultivators in the Grand Essence realm. The one from the 9 Revolutions Sacred Tao Pond is a woman. Man Suotian isn't as handsome as me. He's obviously a monster. I heard that you know the one from the Void Star sect. There are also 2 wandering souls. I'm afraid they won't go through their second blight so soon. Looks like I can only be Shuering." Ning Cheng was secretly stifled in his heart. Was this guy handsome? He suddenly thought of a joke. Pigs thought so too. To be honest, Ning Cheng really didn't know who the other 2 souls were apart from the 3 Tao integration holy emperors Shuiying had mentioned. If he knew, he wouldn't have guessed that the person in front of him was Shuiying. "Fellow Taoist Shui, your River Luo sacred sect has been very dishonest this time. Man Xian killed my Elixir Association's guild master, and the River Luo sacred sect took the opportunity to force us, all for a few spots. Originally, I planned to go to the River Luo sacred sect to ask. Now that I see you here, I will ask you in advance." Ning Cheng spoke in a cold tone. Shuiying chuckled, "I don't have time to care about children's matters. If you go and destroy the River Luo sacred sect, it only means that the fate of the River Luo sacred sect has come to an end. I'm not trash like Man Sutian, who would go to war just to go to the Great Change Realm." Ning Cheng suddenly became speechless. He wanted to take the opportunity to say that the River Luo sacred sect owed him a favor, and then ask Shuiying for help. However, he didn't expect Shuiying to be so stubborn. "Kid, it's not like I can't help you. Just tell me your conditions. Don't try anything funny." Shuiying harumphed. Hearing this, Ning Cheng simply spoke up, "Tao friend Shui, we're both at the second step of Tao confirming. Don't put on airs." The corners of Shuiying's mouth curled up in disdain. Was the Tao integration of the second step of Tao validation the same as Tao essence? This was a world of difference, all right? If not for the fact that he was still in the Deva's blight, he would immediately let this kid know what Tao integration was. Ning Cheng acted as if he did not see Shuiying's disdain and spoke up, "Say, if I wanted to hide outside the barbarian dragon clan for a month, is there any way to prevent Man Suotian from noticing my existence? You want to kill Man Suotian to avenge the Pill Association?" As soon as Ning Cheng said those words, Shuiying sneered. Ning Cheng's face sank as he spoke. "This is my business. Do you think you can make me do this? What kind of deal do you want?" Although he was confident in his concealment cultivation method, Man Suyin was just too strong. Ning Cheng had no choice but to be careful. It would have been fine if he hadn't met Shui Ying, but since he did, he naturally had to ask him about his means. There are 6 primordial chaos experts. Even with Li Feng, your chances of success are very low, Shui Ying said indifferently. Apparently, Shui Ying knew about the gathering between Ning Cheng and the others. That's my business, you just have to say that you have no way to solve it. Ning Cheng replied in a flat voice. Shui Ying took out a talisman. After activating this talisman and sticking it on your body, you can hide within 100 miles of the barbarian dragon clan for a month without being discovered by Man Suotian. Conditions? Ning Cheng didn't immediately grab the talisman. Shui Ying nodded in satisfaction. You can use this talisman first. If you really succeed, come to the River Luo sacred sect to find me. If you die, then consider it my bad luck. Ning Cheng put away the talisman. Many thanks, Dao friend Shui. But my cultivation is shallow, and I'm timid. I don't dare to go to the River Luo sacred sect alone. If I kill Man Suhin by chance, can you please come to the Heaven Essence Sacred City? I happen to have some things to do in the Heaven Essence Sacred City. You're young, but your schemes run deep. Shui Ying spoke with a cold voice. After that, he added, if you really kill Man Suotin, what's the harm in going to the Heaven Essence Sacred City? After saying that, Shui Ying stood up and staggered out of the rest stop. If one had to say which sect had the most people from the Grand Essence Realm to the Grand Change Realm, it would undoubtedly be the Barbarian Dragon Clan. Barbarian Dragon Clan's Man Huishan led a team of 10 people to the Grand Change Realm. This didn't include Man Suotin, who was about to go to the Grand Change Realm. The reason why Man Suotin hadn't gone to the Grand Change Realm yet wasn't because he didn't want to go, but because he couldn't leave right now. He was a Tao Perfection expert, a formidable existence in the Grand Essence Realm. But it would be difficult for him to leave the Grand Essence Realm. Man Suotin had already thought about this. In a few years, he would be able to leave the Grand Essence Realm and head to the Grand Change Realm alone. At this time, a majestic Tao charm appeared in front of Man Suotin. These Tao charms crisscrossed each other like a tumbling world. Other people's Tao charm was faintly discernible. Even if it appeared occasionally, it would be under special circumstances. But Man Suotin directly swept up his Tao charm and turned it into something solid. Man Suotin closed his eyes slightly, as if completely isolating himself from everything outside. The majestic Tao charm aura swept up by Man Suotin and formed a regular space. This Tao charm space had already taken an embryonic form. Just as Man Suotin swept up the Tao charm aura and sent it into the embryonic form of the Tao charm space, Man Suotin suddenly opened his eyes, but his hands didn't stop. After a while, Man Suotin closed his eyes again and swept up the Tao charm aura again. Ning Cheng, who was hiding 100 miles away from the Barbarian Dragon Clan, hadn't started arranging the array formation when he felt an extreme chill. He quickly converged all his vitality aura and integrated it into the surrounding space. At this time, he secretly cursed Shui Ying's talisman for being unreliable. How could he have that feeling of being targeted even with the talisman? After a few hours, Ning Cheng was finally convinced that the cold feeling had disappeared. Ning Cheng didn't dare to be careless and started arranging the time lock spirit array with extreme caution. Ning Cheng placed down the array flags he had already refined a long time ago and then carefully moved them around. As time slowly passed, Li Feng and the others hiding in the distance felt even more anxious than Ning Cheng. They feared that if Man Suotin discovered Ning Cheng arranging the array formation, Man Suotin would kill Ning Cheng before they could even make a move. Since Ning Cheng started cultivating, he felt that time passed very slowly. After a month, Ning Cheng finally dropped down the last array flag and closed the time lock spirit array. Only then did he feel relieved. The moment the time lock spirit array closed, the surrounding space paused for a moment, and the flow of time seemed to have accelerated a lot. The rapidly flowing time couldn't integrate into the surrounding space and could only form a new space. This new space was completely dominated by Ning Cheng. The moment the time lock spirit array closed, Man Suotin's entire body shook. He suddenly stood up and no longer cared about the Tao charm space in front of him. He directly disappeared from his seclusion. Man Suyin had just rushed out of the sea when the time lock spirit array closed. A powerful binding force swept towards Man Suyin. Man Suyin laughed. Li Feng, I knew it was a coward like you. Man Suyin, didn't kill you, yet you dared to come to my barbarian dragon clan. A trivial time lock spirit array wants to trap me. Man Suyin, you're courting death. Before Man Suyin could wave his hand to tear apart the time lock spirit array, a murderous intent shot over. It was a gray light that almost covered the sky. As the light descended, it looked like a thick fog that completely locked down the Dao charm around Man Suyin. Man Suyin snorted, then raised his hand and unleashed a golden whip that blotted out the sky. Boom boom. The power of the Dao charm space became even more unstable. Li Feng was the fastest, and his firmament mirror was the first to be blasted apart by Man Suyin. The golden dragon whip's powerful power of the Dao charm space pressed down. Li Feng felt as if his breathing had become suppressed, and it became extremely difficult. Li Feng didn't dare to retreat. He crazily stimulated his spirit energy, wanting to tear apart the whip shadow. The Dao charm space of the whip shadow directly ignored Li Feng's domain. Even the firmament mirror emitted a hoarse roar. Li Feng opened his mouth and spat out an arrow of blood. His sea of consciousness felt a tearing pain. His heart sank. He knew that he couldn't compare to Man Suotian, but he didn't expect the gap to be so huge. One had to know that when he fought with Man Suotian couldn't suppress him. Now, not only was he suppressed, but he was also suppressed by absolute strength. Just as Man Suotian was about to tear Li Feng apart, Palace Master Luan and Xiao Mozi's attacks arrived at the same time. Palace Master Luan's magic treasure was a purple cloud vase, which transformed into purple Dao blades. The Dao blades contained Palace Master Luan's power of the Dao charm space, which also tore Man Suyin's domain apart. Xiao Mozi's offensive magic treasure was the square seal blade. The blade filled the sky with nomological blade seals, which fused with the purple flower vase's Dao charm space. Man Suyin had no choice but to give up the idea of killing Li Feng. If he took out the god-slaying nail, Li Feng would definitely be killed. However, he wouldn't be able to escape Palace Master Luan's purple cloud vase. He knew that the purple cloud vase was an auxiliary magic treasure. Although the Dao blades filled the sky, it was actually an auxiliary magic treasure. Once he was entangled by the purple cloud vase's Dao blades, it would immediately restrict the Dao charm space around him. It wasn't impossible for someone with a weaker cultivation to be sucked into the vase. Inside the time lock god array, he was already somewhat restricted. Once he was bound by the purple cloud vase, even if he didn't get sucked into the vase, he wouldn't be able to escape Xiao Mozi's square seal blade. What's more, there were 3 more attacks coming right after these 2 attacks. Man Sutian's golden dragon whip swept up the sky full of golden dragon Dao charm space. This Dao charm space almost solidified, which directly blocked Palace Master Luan's purple cloud vase and Xiao Mozi's square seal blade. Palace Master Luan and Xiao Mozi's breathing stagnated. They immediately felt their connection with their magic treasures drop to a freezing point. Palace Master Luan's mind was in chaos. Her purple cloud vase core could move freely, and it had never experienced a situation like this before. Xiao Mozi's strength ranked 3rd among everyone, and he was also the 3rd primordial essence holy emperor to attack Man Sutian. Just like Palace Master Luan, he had just taken out the square seal blade. Before it could affect Man Suyin, a terrifying and violent Dao charm space blasted over. A black needle shadow wrapped in this Dao charm space, which seemed to carry the surging aura of an entire world, shot towards his glabella. Ka. At this moment, Ning Cheng's time lock god array started to crack under the terrifying Dao charm space. Ning Cheng had just taken out the 5-colored star splitter arrow, while Zhu Fanghen, Jiao Xian, and Bai Caixia had also taken out their magic treasures. During this time, the offense and defense had exchanged several rounds. Man Sutian's strength had exceeded everyone's expectations. Chapter 1128. Everyone's hearts sank, including Ning Cheng's. Don't look at the law power and Dao charm aura roaring. In fact, The fight only lasted for a brief moment, not even half a breath's time. In just half a breath's time, Man Suyin had completely suppressed the three strongest experts, Li Feng, Palace Master Luan, and Xiao Mozi. Everyone felt fear in their hearts. Without Ning Cheng's time lock spirit array, Man Suyin would have already killed at least two of them. At this time, Ning Cheng's time lock spirit array started to crack. In just 2 or 3 breaths' time, the time lock spirit array would completely collapse. When Xiao Mozi was locked by the god-slaying nail, he felt the aura of death. But under Man Suotian's powerful law power, not to mention escaping, he could only slowly tremble. Ning Cheng's time lock spirit array controlled Man Suotian. Otherwise, he would have ended up like Pill Association's Association Master Si Qin, Qiu Tianyi. He wouldn't have been able to move and would have died under Man Suotian's nail. Ning Cheng felt a chill in his heart. He had tried to overestimate Man Suotian, but he didn't expect Man Suotian's strength to go far beyond his estimation. Without the time lock spirit array, they would have already suffered a crushing defeat. Even a few of them would have died here. Moreover, Man Suyin hadn't crossed the second heaven's blight. What would happen if he crossed the second heaven's blight? His essence blood burned crazily, and the 5-colored star splitter arrow finally came out, suspended in the void. At this moment, the roaring Dao charm aura, the rolling law power, and all the killing power and killing intent froze. Then, the killing power gathered into the 5-colored star splitter arrow and gathered together. A gray aura of death filled the space filled with law power. The black arrow gradually turned illusory in the void, while the 5-colored bow looked like a rainbow. With the power to tear apart a planet, it stood in front of Man Suyin. 5-colored star splitter arrow. Man Suyin suddenly paused and uttered these words word by word. The god-slaying nail finally nailed into Xiao Mozi's glabella. No matter how hard Xiao Mozi tried to move, he only managed to move a small distance. A trace of blood slid down Xiao Mozi's forehead, and he could smell death approaching him. As the god-slaying nail moved half a step further, his essence spirit would be completely imprisoned, and his body would collapse. With Xiao Mozi's strength, he did not have the ability to escape the death suppression of the god-slaying nail. At that moment, the god-slaying nail stopped. All the killing intent Dao runes on the god-slaying nail gradually retracted. Before Xiao Mozi could enjoy the pleasure of escaping from death, he felt another kind of crazy killing intent. This killing intent filled the entire space. No, it should be said that it filled the entire world. Xiao Mozi took a deep breath, forcibly withstood the remnant rule power of the god-slaying nail, which was about to strangle his primordial spirit, and started to retreat slowly. He could see that this endless killing intent wasn't directed at him by Man Suyin, but the terrifying killing intent emanating from Ning Cheng's 5-colored star splitter arrow. This was the killing intent that locked onto Man Suotian. Ning Cheng had finally made his move. Ning Cheng's face remained calm, as if he hadn't heard Man Suotian's words. He still crazily burned his essence blood and stimulated his spirit essence. The 5-colored longbow finally transformed into a gorgeous shadow. Only killing intent continued to gather, only death continued to extend. Zhu Fenghen, Jiao Xian, and Bai Zixia's attacks finally landed on Man Suotian's domain. The Dao charm of Zhu Fenghen's 10,000-layer diamond tree turned into tree shadows. The tree shadows tore through Man Suotian's domain, and thousands of tree needles covered Man Suotian's body. The Dao charm of Jiao Xian's attack was the most dazzling. The dozens of lights even surpassed Ning Cheng's 5-colored star splitter arrow. The Windfire charm's brilliance was like a kaleidoscope, tearing apart Man Suotian's already shattered domain. At the same time, in Pill Book suspended over Man Suotian's head. Pill charms, along with the laws of fire, wrapped around Man Suyin like an alchemist and seemed to want to refine him. This was Bai Zixia's attack-type weapon, the Pill Book. Without the 5-colored star splitter arrow, although these 3 attacks would have caused some trouble for Man Suyin would have at most suffered some injuries. He could have killed Xiao Mozi, torn apart the time lock spirit array, and then turned Parting Phoenix into ashes. As for Ning Cheng, Cheng Hotian, and Holy Emperor Qing Yi, they were just ants in his eyes. After he destroyed the Time Lock Spirit Array, he could kill them at any time. But now, Mansuetin didn't dare to move. The five-colored star splitter arrow had locked onto him, and death was closing in on him. Even if he knew that he could escape from the five-colored star splitter arrow as soon as possible, he didn't dare to run away. If Ning Cheng was alone, even if he was locked onto by the five-colored star splitter arrow, he could tear through the death aura of the five-colored star splitter arrow and then kill Ning Cheng. But in the current situation, even if he escaped from the five-colored star splitter arrow, he couldn't escape the other primordial chaos Holy Emperor's joint-killing move. He felt sure that if he tore through the five-colored star splitter arrow's lock, the others would blast him into pieces. He could use his law power to easily break the joint attack of several primordial chaos Holy Emperors. But he couldn't tear through the five-colored star splitter arrow's lock and block the full-powered attack of several primordial chaos Holy Emperors with his body alone. Boom! Mansuetin's domain was torn into pieces by all sorts of attacks. Boundless Tao ripples and flames rained down from the sky, shattering the laws around Mansuetin. Several light blades sliced through Mansuetin's waist, almost splitting him in half. But Mansuetin still didn't dare to move. He waited for Ning Cheng to shoot the five-colored star splitter arrow. Ning Cheng was an early-stage Tao Essence Holy Emperor. Even if the five-colored star splitter arrow locked onto him, as long as he shot the arrow, he could regain the initiative. He had long heard of the legend of the five-colored star splitter arrow. He had heard that this arrow was one of the culprits behind the shattering of the Grand Essence Realm's laws. At the same time, he also knew that only the five-colored star splitter arrow posed the lowest threat. So what if a Tao Essence Holy Emperor held the five-colored star splitter arrow? He could still avoid the arrow after it was shot. Mansuetin soon realized that he was wrong. This early-stage Tao Essence Holy Emperor seemed to possess a terrifying sea of consciousness power comparable to primordial chaos. The surrounding heaven and earth killing intent grew denser and denser. If this continued, even if he was Mansuetin, he couldn't guarantee that he could break free from the five-colored star splitter arrow. No, it wasn't that he couldn't guarantee it, but he felt sure that he couldn't break free from the five-colored star splitter arrow. Why are you trying so hard to kill me, Mansuetin? Mansuetin finally asked. Even if he was a true dragon, he felt completely suppressed at this moment. Ning Cheng's weakness grew stronger and stronger. Mansuetin's control over the laws of heaven and earth was just too strong. If not for the five-colored star splitter arrow's lethality increasing as one's cultivation increased, Ning Cheng wouldn't have guaranteed that this arrow could hurt Mansuetin. Boom! Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness finally erupted with a roar, and a powerful killing intent finally poured out. Ning Cheng's body relaxed, and the five-colored star splitter arrow tore through the surrounding space and shot out with a sharp whistle. All the law power and chaotic Tao charms scattered in front of the five-colored star splitter arrow. At this moment, only death remained in front of the five-colored star splitter arrow. I'm Ning Cheng, the new Union Master of the Pill Union. You killed my Pill Union Sichin Chiotian and countless alchemists, destroyed my Pill Union, and dyed Heaven Essence Sacred City with blood. I vow to kill you, Mansuetin, to avenge Union Master Si Chin and destroy your barbarian dragon clan from my Pill Union. Today I'm here. When Mansuetin only had the five-colored star splitter arrow in his eyes, he heard Ning Cheng's voice. Ning Cheng's words about destroying the barbarian dragon clan made his mind churn, and a tearing anger filled his heart. Someone actually dared to say that he would destroy his barbarian dragon clan. You dare? As Mansuetin spoke, the Tao charm around him loosened again. The five-colored star splitter arrow, wrapped in endless killing intent, arrived in front of him. Mansuetin stretched out his hand. Ning Cheng's words about destroying the barbarian dragon clan had affected his will. He still wanted to grab the five-colored star splitter arrow. At the same time, he still believed that he could grab the five-colored star splitter arrow. When Ning Cheng shot the five-colored star splitter arrow and said that he would kill Mansuetin and destroy the barbarian dragon clan, Mansuetin reached out to grab the five-colored star splitter arrow. But at that moment, Qing Hotian and Holy Emperor Qing Yi threw out dozens of array flags at the same time. The time lock spirit array, which was on the verge of collapse, suddenly shrank. Even the space and time within the time lock spirit array seemed to have accelerated. Time flew like an arrow. Time flew like a shuttle. No matter how capable Man Suotian was, he would never have thought that Ning Cheng would integrate his spirit technique into the Tao of arrays and arrange it within the time lock spirit array. At this moment, the flow of time within the time lock spirit array was no longer the same as before. At the same time, the space within the time lock spirit array instantly changed. Man Suotian's hand grasped the 5-colored star splitter arrow, but the 5-colored star splitter arrow directly passed through his palm. Man Suotian's eyes didn't change at all. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of essence qi, which was his life's aura. Even if you managed to stimulate the space-time within the time lock spirit array, so what? I can still block this arrow. The 5-colored star splitter arrow suddenly stopped under Man Suotian's life's Tao charm essence qi. Seeing this, Man Suotian's mind finally relaxed. As long as he could block the 5-colored star splitter arrow, he would win. Man Suotian also understood that this was the weakest time he had ever been. Perhaps this weakness would only last for a breath, but he had to get through it. Ning Qing didn't give him this time. An illusory arrow shadow, carrying with it an aura of life, nailed itself to Man Suotian's glabella. At this moment, the time within the time lock spirit array no longer fell under Man Suotian's control. Instead, it fell under Ning Cheng's flowing time spirit technique. Man Suotian managed to block the 5-colored star splitter arrow with his life's essence qi despite missing the previous trajectory of the 5-colored star splitter arrow. However, he couldn't block Ning Cheng's flowing time arrow. Flowing time spirit technique's second step, time like an arrow. Time flew by. The flowing time arrow transformed into a long arrow and nailed Man Suotian at his weakest moment, not giving him half a chance. Man Suotian looked at the blood dripping down in disbelief. He felt his vitality disappear instantly after being nailed by the flowing time arrow. A Tao Essence Holy Emperor used the 5-colored star splitter arrow as a cover and used the flowing time spirit technique to kill him. He slowly raised his head, and his gaze gradually loosened. However, his eyes still looked at Ning Cheng with disbelief. It wasn't until this moment that he understood that Ning Cheng's real trump card to kill him wasn't the 5-colored star splitter arrow, but the flowing time spirit technique integrated into the time lock spirit array. It wasn't that Man Suotian couldn't grasp the flowing time arrow within the array formation, but that he didn't expect it. He suspected that Ning Cheng's final words about destroying the barbarian dragon clan was also part of Ning Cheng's plan to kill him. Ning Cheng was an extremely terrifying enemy. Unfortunately, Man Suotian still had too many things to do. Chapter 1129. I heard that you killed my friend, Association Master Si Chin, in the Pill Association. Today, I will kill you, Man Suotian, in the Barbarian Dragon Clan. You destroyed my Pill Union in the past. Today, I will return it to your Barbarian Dragon Clan. Ning Cheng's emotionless tone fell into Man Suotian's ears. He felt that it was a kind of sarcasm. Man Suotian had never thought that a Tao perfection expert like him would be besieged and killed in the Barbarian Dragon Clan of the Grand SNC. When he saw the 6 primordial chaos sacred emperors surrounding him, he only thought about not letting a single one of them escape. He never thought that he would lose or even lose his life. Since when did a Tao Essence Divine Emperor dare to talk to him about revenge? Nailing, it was yet another nailing. If the 5-colored star splitter arrow nailed him to death, then he, Man Suotian, would accept it. But he, Man Suotian, was actually killed by a Tao Essence Divine Emperor's time god art. This was a humiliation. No matter how humiliating it was, he could only accept it. Because all of this happened too quickly. From the time he made his move to the time he was killed, how much time had passed? Pooh! Man Suotian coughed out a mouthful of blood. 3 of the Tao lights that were blocked by Man Suotian's Tao ripples landed on his body. Man Suotian slowly knelt down as his life force slowly disappeared. He still stared at the Grand Essence Sea under his feet, unwilling to close his eyes. However, his eyes were filled with the grayness of death, and there was no longer any trace of life. Perhaps it was just as Man Suotian thought. Everything happened too quickly. At this moment, no one was willing to speak. Even after Ning Cheng's time-turning arrow spirit technique nailed Man Suotian, no one dared to take another shot. When Man Suyin was killed, everyone, including Palace Mistress Luan and the heavily injured Xiao Mozi, realized how terrifying Ning Cheng was. Rather than saying that Man Suotian died under the threat of the five-colored star-splitter arrow, it was more accurate to say that Ning Cheng killed Man Suotian. Ning Cheng must have calculated that after Man Suotian caught the five-colored star-splitter arrow, he would have a moment of weakness. But who could seize this moment of weakness? Even if he used his divine ability, he would not be able to kill Man Suotian within a breath of time. Ning Cheng could. Ning Cheng had indeed brought out a spirit technique. However, he had not truly brought out a spirit technique. He had fused his sacred art into the time lock god formation. He had even used Qing Ho Tian and Sacred Emperor Qing Yi to accurately grasp this fleeting moment of time. Before joining hands to attack Man Suotian, everyone agreed that Ning Cheng would arrange the time lock god array while the other 6 primordial chaos holy emperors would trap Man Suotian. Ning Cheng would use the five-colored star-splitter arrow to injure Man Sun. When Ning Cheng brought out the five-colored star-splitter arrow, Qing Ho Tian and Holy Emperor Qin Yi followed Ning Cheng's instructions and used the array flags given by Ning Cheng to change the array. In fact, Ning Cheng had indeed nailed Man Suotian to death. The only difference was that Man Suyin didn't die under the five-colored star-splitter arrow but under Ning Cheng's time shuttle spirit technique. In other words, Ning Cheng had not told anyone about his trump card. Possessing a powerful array Dao wasn't scary. What was scary was using these methods to make a move when others thought it was impossible. Palatial Master Luan subconsciously shivered. She suddenly thought that if her sunken fish palace offended the new Union Master of the Pill Association one day, would her sunken fish palace end up like the barbarian dragon clan? She was sure that if she were in Man Suotian's position, she wouldn't have guessed that Ning Cheng still had a hidden card by his side. This was probably the most terrifying Dao Essence Holy Emperor she had ever seen. 6 Primordial Chaos Holy Emperors and 3 Dao Essence Holy Emperors had joined hands to besiege Man Sun. In the end, the one who contributed the most was Ning Cheng, who had the weakest cultivation at the early stage Dao Essence realm. Ning Cheng took out several medicinal pills and swallowed them. He then took the initiative to give 2 medicinal pills to Xiao Mozi. Only then did he raise his hand to pick up Man Suotian's ring. He then smiled and said, Man Suotian has committed countless crimes and has finally been executed. I will have to trouble everyone with the Barbarian Dragon Clan. As for the Barbarian Dragon Clan's items, we will still distribute them according to what we agreed before. Palace Master Luan took in a deep breath and was the first to speak up. It's all up to Association Master Ning. Li Feng spoke up with a slightly weak voice. I agree with Palace Master Luan's words. It's all up to Association Master Ning. The people from the Pill Association didn't speak. Ning Cheng was the Association Master of the Pill Association, so he naturally had the final say. Okay, after we destroy the Barbarian Dragon Clan, I plan to gather the experts from various sects in the Heaven Essence Sacred City to discuss the future plans of the Grand Essence Realm. At the same time, I also want to rearrange the Grand Essence Realm's protective Grand Array. What do you think? Ning Cheng spoke about his plan. Ning Cheng wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to arrange a powerful defensive array around the Grand Essence Realm. Feng Xian wouldn't be able to find the Grand Essence Realm in a short time. But who could say for sure what would happen in the future? Once Feng Xian found the Grand Essence Realm, it wouldn't be difficult to find him. Once he found the 4 Grand Starry Skies, Feng Xian would most likely turn the 4 Grand Starry Skies into nothingness. Ning Cheng also knew that once Feng Xian's strength reached the 4 Grand Starry Skies, he would most likely face suppression from the laws of heaven and earth. But what if there was no suppression? It was always better to be prepared than unprepared. Li Feng already knew that Ning Cheng had the idea of repairing the Grand Essence Realm. Now that Ning Cheng said that he would gather everyone to discuss the arrangement of the Grand Essence Realm's protective Grand Array, she immediately said, "My mysterious crossing ancient clan will follow the words of Association Master Ning. From today onwards, the mysterious crossing ancient clan will no longer stay in seclusion." Palace Master Luan also expressed her intention to participate in the Heaven Essence Sacred City's meeting. Gu Mingxian stood outside the Heaven Essence Sacred City and didn't enter the city. Behind him, there were 7 or 8 Dao Transformation Holy Emperors. These people were all members of the Pill Association, and he himself was a Dao Transformation Pill deity and a Dao Essence Holy Emperor of the Pill Association. Several airships flew over Gu Mingxuan's head, but he didn't seem to see them and stood quietly in place. He was waiting for news from the Pill Association's second association master, Cheng Hotian. Cheng Hotian didn't bring him to the Grand Essence Sea to participate in the operation to kill Man Suotin. Instead, he told him to wait outside the Heaven Essence Sacred City and wait for news. Once he received news, he would attack the Barbarian Dragon Clan in the Heaven Essence Sacred City. He wouldn't let anyone from the Barbarian Dragon Clan escape. Another airship flew out of the Heaven Essence Sacred City. Almost at the same time, a message fell into Gu Mingxuan's communication beat. Gu Mingxuan's spiritual consciousness swept through the message. Suddenly, he raised his hand and shot out a gray light. Before the airship could rush out of the Heaven Essence Sacred City's defensive array, it was hit by Gu Mingxuan's gray light and exploded into a cloud of mist. The few cultivators outside the Heaven Essence Sacred City suddenly froze. Those who dared to fly in and out of the Heaven Essence Sacred City were either from the Barbarian Dragon Clan or the City Lord's mansion. Only a few of them were from the 10 major sections. Who was this? Who dared to destroy the airship outside the Heaven Essence Sacred City? Gu Mingxian, you dare to touch my Barbarian Dragon Clan's people? A Barbarian Dragon Clan's Dao Transformation Holy Emperor rushed out and shouted. If Gu Mingxuan's cultivation wasn't higher than his, he would have already killed Gu Mingxian. In just a short time, the entrance of the Heaven Essence Sacred City was filled with people. The Heaven Essence Sacred City wasn't as prosperous as before. But as the premier sacred city of the Grand Essence Domain, it still had a lot more people than ordinary places. Gu Mingxian flew up and stood outside the Heaven Essence Sacred City. He said loudly, "Barbarian Dragon Clan's Mansuyin is lawless and disregards the rules of the Grand Essence Realm. A few years ago, in the Heaven Essence Sacred City, he destroyed my Pill Association's headquarters and killed my association master Si Qin, Qiu Tian, and countless alchemists. Today, my Pill Association's new association master, Pill Sage Ning Cheng, announces to all Dao friends in the Grand Essence Realm that the Pill Association will kill Man Suotin to avenge Association Master Si Qin. The Barbarian Dragon Clan disregards the peace rules of the Grand Essence Realm and will be removed from the Grand Essence Realm by the Pill Association. From today onwards, the Barbarian Dragon Clan will no longer exist in the Grand Essence Realm." Boom! Gu Mingxuan's words were like an atomic bomb thrown into the crowd, setting off a huge wave. Gu Mingxian didn't care about the shock of others. The weapon in his hand once again rolled up a gray light and turned the Barbarian Dragon Clan's Dao Transformation Pill Sage into a cloud of blood. Everyone stared at Gu Mingxian. Even if the City Lord Mansion's Dao Essence Holy Emperor came, no one dared to stop him. Gu Mingxian glanced at the City Lord Mansion's Dao Essence Holy Emperor and said again, "From today onwards, the Heaven Essence Sacred City will be taken over by the Pill Association. Anyone who dares to control a weapon to fly in the Heaven Essence Sacred City's no-fly zone will be killed without mercy." Gu Mingxian had just spoken up to here when another flight-type weapon flew over. This airship didn't fly from the Heaven Essence Sacred City to the outside. Instead, it flew from the outside to the Heaven Essence Sacred City. This time, without waiting for Gu Mingxian to do anything, the other 7 or 8 Pill Association Holy Emperors directly took action. The airship with the City Lord Mansion's name engraved on it immediately disintegrated in the air under the 7 or 8 attacks. "Gu Mingxian, your Elixir Society is too overbearing. How dare you destroy the flying ship of my City Lord Mansion?" The Tao Essence Divine Emperor of the City Lord Mansion couldn't stand watching anymore. He flew out. Gu Mingxian said with a calm tone, "If you do anything, I will think that the City Lord Mansion has declared war on my Pill Association. If you can bear this responsibility, then let's fight." The City Lord Mansion's Tao Essence Holy Emperor froze. Could he bear this responsibility? Even if he had to bear it, it depended on what responsibility it was. Just now, Gu Mingxian said that Pill Association's Ning Cheng had become the new association master. He also said that he wanted to kill Man Suotian and destroy the barbarian dragon clan. This news was too outrageous and scary. But because of this news, he didn't dare to do anything. Ning Cheng was a Tao Essence Pill Saint, so his cultivation wasn't much. But the Pill Association wasn't simple. The Pill Association had several primordial essence holy emperors. Although they couldn't compare to barbarian dragon clan's Man Suotian, they could easily destroy the City Lord Mansion. That's right, if they couldn't compare to Man Suotian, it meant that Pill Association's Ning Cheng overestimated himself and was courting death. Thinking of this, the Tao Essence Holy Emperor sneered. "I'll let you be arrogant for a few days. When Man Suotian kills everyone in the Pill Association, my City Lord Mansion won't be able to destroy the last brick of the Pill Association." Seeing this Tao Essence Holy Emperor stunned, Gu Mingxian sneered. "Tao friends, apart from my Pill Association's Association Master and several Primordial Essence Holy Emperors, there are also several Primordial Essence Holy Emperors from the mysterious Travel Ancient Clan, Sunken Fish Palace's Palace Master, and River Luo Sacred Sect's Tao Integration Holy Emperor, Shuang." Previously, some people still thought that Gu Mingxian was bluffing. However, after Gu Mingxian mentioned the River Luo Sacred Sect's Tao Integration Holy Emperor Shuang, everyone knew that Man Suotian and the barbarian dragon tribe were done for. Chapter 1130. When Lu Jiexing received news that Pill Union's Gu Mingxian had openly killed people from the City Master's mansion in Heaven Essence Sacred City, he immediately flew into a rage. Some wandering ghosts from the Pill Association also dared to come to Heaven Essence Sacred City and cause trouble? Lu Jiexing returned to the entrance of Heaven Essence Sacred City as fast as he could. When he came back, he heard Gu Mingxuan's last words. His anger instantly disappeared. Even if Gu Mingxian had killed the City Lord Manor's primordial Tao protector, he would not have dared to act up, much less if Gu Mingxian had killed a few ants from the City Lord Manor. The Tao Integration Holy Emperor of the River Luo Holy Sect, Shuang, joined forces with the Pill Association to annihilate Man Suotian and the barbarian dragon tribe. No matter how bold the Lu family was, they wouldn't dare to provoke the Elixir Association. "Alchemist Gu, you're back. Nice to meet you." Lu Jiexing naturally couldn't just walk away without saying a word. If he really walked away like this, his Lu clan's reputation in the Grand Essence realm would stink. Lu Jiexing was also considered an early-stage primordial chaos expert, and his strength far exceeded Gu Mingxuan's. Facing Lu Jiexing, Gu Mingxian just nodded casually and said nothing. Lu Jiexing frowned slightly, feeling a little unhappy. "Your Elixir Association used Shui Ying to kill Man Suotian, and that was Shui Ying's ability. Gu Mingxian was just a primordial Tao sacred emperor. How dare he be rude to him, a primordial chaos expert?" Although Lu Jiexing felt unhappy, he still did not show it. He smiled and continued, "Alchemist Gu, why don't you come to my City Lord's mansion for a cup of tea?" Gu Mingxian shook his head. "Taoist Lu, you're wrong. The City Lord mansion doesn't belong to your Lu family." No matter how much patience Lu Jiexing had, he could no longer hold it in. His tone turned cold as he said, "Oh, so your Elixir Association is determined to go against the City Lord's mansion?" Pill Master Gu is right. The City Master's mansion isn't surnamed Lu. You, Lu Jiexing, aren't qualified to speak in the name of the City Master's mansion. The voice came from afar, and soon after, several figures landed in front of the Heaven Essence Sacred City. Ning Cheng? Lu Jiexing immediately saw Ning Cheng walking at the front. He couldn't believe his eyes. Ning Cheng was already a Tao Essence Divine Emperor. How long has it been? The last time Ning Cheng went to the City Master's mansion, what was his cultivation level? He seems to be at the Tao sculpting stage, right? Apart from the two Tao essence divine emperors, the rest were all primordial chaos experts. He even saw mysterious very ancient clan's super expert Li Feng. Apart from Li Feng, Palace Lord Luan of the Sunken Fish Palace was also present. Lu Jiexing had originally wanted to retort, but after seeing so many experts, he consciously shut his mouth. Lu Jiexing did not dare to argue with Ning Cheng, and instead came forward to greet him. Ancient Pill God, you've worked hard for the Heaven Essence Sacred City. I'll have to trouble you to send a message to the various sects in the Grand Essence Realm and invite the sect masters of the major sects to gather in the Heaven Essence Sacred City within 10 days. Also, send out an announcement for the Pill Meet, asking those who missed it to come to the Heaven Essence Sacred City. Ning Cheng ignored Lu Jiexing and spoke directly to Gu Mingxian. In fact, Ning Cheng knew in his heart that once he said these words, even if Gu Mingxian did not send a letter, the news would soon spread to the major academies. Gu Mingxian quickly replied, "Yes, President. I thought it would take a few days for the association master to come back. I didn't expect it to be so soon." Cheng Hotian smiled. Barbarian Dragon Clan has a teleportation array that can teleport us directly to a place not far from the Heaven Essence Sacred City. Otherwise, it would have taken us some time to come back. More and more people gathered at the entrance of the Heaven Essence Sacred City. Now that Pill Meet's Ning Cheng made a strong return, some people doubted Gu Mingxuan's words. But now that Ning Cheng appeared at the entrance of the Heaven Essence Sacred City, coupled with Cheng Hotian saying that the Barbarian Dragon Clan's teleportation array could teleport them back, almost 90% of the people felt sure that the Barbarian Dragon Clan and Man Suotian were finished. The days when the Barbarian Dragon Clan and the City Master's mansion ran rampant in the Heaven Essence Sacred City, they would never return. Ning Cheng cupped his fists and spoke with a clear voice. "Dao friends from all over the Grand Essence Realm, my Grand Essence Realm is in chaos, and the powerhouses can do whatever they want without any scruples. Apart from the broken heaven and earth laws of my Grand Essence Realm, there is another important reason. That is, my Grand Essence Realm lacks a real rule. After the fall of the Pill Meets Association Master Sichin, the Grand Essence Realm became even more chaotic. The major sects only sweep the snow in front of their doors. Only benefits can drive them, and they never care about the life and death of my Grand Essence Realm. If this situation continues, I'm afraid it won't be as simple as the broken heaven and earth laws of my Grand Essence Realm. One day, my Grand Essence Realm will completely disappear from the endless void." Silence reigned around them, and no one spoke. Not to mention that Ning Cheng was a Tao Essence Pill Saint. Just based on the power of the Pill Meet when they killed Man Suyin, no one dared to look down on him. Ning Cheng continued, "Man Suotian dared to destroy the Pill Meet and kill the Association Master without any reason. Today, my Pill Meet killed Man Suyin and annihilated the Barbarian Dragon Clan to avenge the Association Master. But not everyone has the strength of the Pill Meet. Sometimes, when they die, they can only accept their fate." Everyone knew that the Pill Meet killed Man Suotian, but hearing it from Ning Cheng's mouth, they still felt shocked. Man Suyin, a famous powerhouse in the Grand Essence Realm with a Tao perfection body. Yet, the Pill Meet killed such a powerhouse. From now on, who would dare to say no to the Pill Meet? Ning Cheng raised his hand and stopped the uproar. "Tao friends, my Pill Meet killed Man Suyin, not to dominate the entire Grand Essence Realm, but to fight for a peaceful environment for the Grand Essence Realm. I've been to the Grand Change Realm, and the laws in the Grand Change Realm are indeed complete. More importantly, the Grand Change Realm is under the control of several major Tao courts, which means that there are rules to follow. I, Ning Cheng, on behalf of the Pill Meet, would like to express our thoughts here. That is, our Grand Essence Realm also wants to establish a fair environment. At the very least, we want the cultivators of the Grand Essence Realm to cultivate in peace. We don't want a virtuous powerhouse like Association Master Sichin to appear again. He can be killed without any reason. 10 days later, my Pill Meet will take the lead to gather all the powerhouses of the Grand Essence Realm in the Heaven Essence Sacred City's public square to discuss how to protect our Grand Essence Realm. A wave of cheers rang out. Most of the people here wanted to cultivate in peace. From Ning Cheng's words, he wanted to establish a new security order in the Grand Essence realm. No one had taken the initiative to do this before. But now that the pill meat had taken the initiative, everyone naturally supported it. Even Lu Jiexing had to agree. 10 days passed by quickly, and the pill meat destroyed by Man Suyin stood tall again. It was still in the shape of a pill furnace. Ning Cheng also took back the huge Dao pill from Man Suyin's hands and restored it to its original appearance. The barbarian dragon clan's airship-shaped merchant house had long since turned to ashes. In front of the pill meat, Si Chen's Qiu Tian statue remained. In addition, the pill meat's defensive array formations had also grown several times stronger than before. Ning Cheng's attainments in the Dao of array formations could even trap Dao perfection powerhouses for a while. Therefore, the pill meat's defensive array formations he arranged naturally couldn't be compared to ordinary array formation masters. In just a few days, the chaotic Heaven Essence sacred city quickly settled down. From then on, no one dared to fly around the Heaven Essence sacred city anymore, and the fights within the city also disappeared. Many cultivators who heard the news hurried back to Heaven Essence sacred city. By the end of the 10 days, Heaven Essence Sacred City had once again returned to its most prosperous state. Heaven Essence Sacred City's public square was already filled with people from all over the world. Whether they had reached Dao Confirming or not, whether it was Dao Confirming's first step or Dao Confirming's second step. At this time, everyone gathered at Heaven Essence Sacred City's public square without exception. Everyone knew that today was the most important day in the Grand Essence realm. The Grand Essence realm would have to rewrite the rules. This was what Pill Meat's new leader, Pill Sage Ning Cheng, had said. River Luo Sacred Sect's Dao Perfection Holy Emperor Shui Ying hadn't arrived yet, but River Luo Sacred Sect's Sect Master Wang Huazhong had arrived. Following Wang Huazhong were more than a dozen powerhouses. However, Tong Mingzi wasn't here. He had led a team to the Grand Change realm. Although 7-star Sacred Shrines Sect Master wasn't here, Deputy Sect Master Mu Yuankong had also arrived with a group of powerhouses. 9 revolving Sacred Dao Ponds Sect Master Dai Fu, Profound Moon Spirit Gates Fei Feng, Desolate Spirit Palaces Palace Master Xiao Luojin, Sunken Fish Palaces Palace Master Luan, Flaming Feather Spirit Mountains Pring Chiyuan, Silver Dragon Clans Gong Wu, Grand Essence Ruins, even the reclusive Mysterious Crossing Ancient Clans Patriarch Li Feng had come to Heaven Essence Sacred City's public square. At this moment, one could say that all the powerhouses in the Grand Essence realm had gathered here. No matter the size of the sect, no matter how strong or weak they were, as long as they could arrive within 10 days, they all came. Even those who couldn't make it were on their way. Heaven Essence Sacred City's public square was grand and spacious, and cultivators from all sides stood in the public square excitedly. No one knew how many years it had been, but the Grand Essence realm had never been so lively. Leader Ning is here. When Ning Cheng walked into the Heaven Essence public square with the people from the Pill Meat, countless cultivators cheered. The Pill Meat's leader, Sidu Qiu Tian, had top-notch popularity in the entire Grand Essence realm. Although no one had the ability to avenge Sidu Qiu Tian's death, everyone looked forward to someone taking revenge for him. But now, Ning Cheng not only killed Man Suonin and avenged Sidu Qiu Tian, but also became the new leader of the Pill Meat. Not only was Ning Cheng a Dao Essence Pill Saint, but he also ranked in the top 3 of the 5 realms Pill Meat. It could be said that no one felt anything wrong with Ning Cheng becoming the new leader of the Pill Meat. More importantly, Ning Cheng wanted to discuss the rules of survival for the entire Grand Essence realm. This was something that even Si Chen Qiu Tian couldn't do. The people on the public square were clear about why Ning Cheng was able to achieve this. It was because Ning Cheng had chosen a very good time. He had just destroyed the barbarian dragon clan and killed Dao Perfection Holy Emperor Mansun. Then he announced that the Grand Essence realm would gather in Heaven Essence Sacred City. With such power, who would dare not come? One had to know that River Luo Sacred Sect's legendary Dao Perfection powerhouse, Shui Ying, would also come to Heaven Essence Sacred City. Leader Ning. Pill Sage Ning. As soon as Ning Qing arrived, many sect master-level powerhouses took the initiative to greet him. Ning Cheng's rise was too fast. Some people familiar with Ning Qing even remembered that Ning Qing hadn't even reached Dao sculpting when he first appeared. Profound Moon Spirit Gate's Fei Feng also casually greeted Ning Qing in the crowd. However, he felt gloomy in his heart. The greater Ning Cheng's reputation, the more disadvantageous it would be for him. Leader Ning, I heard that my River Luo sacred sect's Dao ancestor Shui will come here. I wonder. River Luo sacred sect's sect master Wang Huazhong crossed the crowd and rushed to Ning Qing. Chapter 1131. Useless thing. No matter what, I, Shuang, am a member of the River Luo sacred sect, yet you're asking an outsider where I'm going. A cold snort of dissatisfaction came from a skinny old man with a hunched back. Greetings, Dao ancestor. When Wang Huazhong saw the old man, he hurriedly bowed and greeted him. The stooped, skinny old man snorted once more. I'm still a million miles away from becoming a Dao father. If word of this gets out, others will laugh their heads off. Yes, Dao ancestor. Wang Huazhong hurriedly bowed and replied, still addressing him as Dao ancestor. Ning Cheng from the Pill Association greets Senior Shui. When Ning Cheng saw Shuang, he quickly stepped forward and greeted him. In a place with no one around, he could ignore Shuang. Now that there were so many people in the Heaven Essence public square, including the River Luo Sacred Sect's sect master, Shuang had to show some respect. Moreover, he had called for this meeting not only because he wanted to kill Man Suotian, but also because he wanted to borrow Shui Ying's name. After Ning Cheng and Wang Huazhong, almost all the sect heads came forward to greet them. Shuang might not have made any contributions to the Grand Essence realm, but Shui Ying's strength was still here. This was a form of respect for strength. Shuang nodded to the crowd, then looked at Ning Cheng and spoke. It looks like I have underestimated you, causing such a big commotion. If you have something to say, then hurry up and say it. After you finish, we can talk about it slowly. Ning Cheng also no longer remained polite. He displayed the strength of the Pill Union, while Shuang was still in her second heaven's blight. As long as Shuang could still think clearly, she wouldn't fall out with him. Seeing Ning Cheng fly up to the main altar, the Heaven Essence public square immediately turned silent. Even Shuang allowed Ning Cheng to speak first, which meant that he acknowledged Ning Cheng's strength, or that the Elixir Association had acted on their own initiative. Ning Cheng bowed to the sect masters in front of the public square and all the cultivators on the public square before speaking up in a clear voice. For the few spots I snatched from the Grand Change realm, the major sects in the Grand Essence realm suddenly changed their faces. Barbarian Dragon Clan's Man Suotian even disregarded morality and directly slaughtered the Pill Association. Ning Cheng's first sentence was a slap in the face, causing those sects who had snatched Ning Cheng's spots to feel embarrassed. They had indeed not participated in Man Suotian's attack on the Elixir Association, but they had participated in Man Suotian's share of the quota. Man Suotian has already fallen. For the sake of my Grand Essence realm's stability, I don't wish to pursue the past. It's just a few spots. In my eyes, that's all. My Grand Essence realm isn't any worse than the Grand Change realm. The only thing lacking is the incomplete laws. Who can be sure that my Grand Essence realm's heaven and earth laws have always been incomplete? If one day, my Grand Essence realm's laws are complete, would anyone still rush to go to Grand Change? Although Ning Cheng's voice was not loud, but it was clearly transmitted to the ears of everyone in the public square. Guild Master Ning has great ambitions and is worthy of our respect. Even if the Grand Essence realm's laws were complete, for others, the Grand Essence realm would still be their backyard. They could come and go as they pleased. No matter how good Sect Master Ning's idea is, it's just wishful thinking. Profound Moon Spirit Gate's Fei Feng spoke with a calm voice. In front of so many people, he refuted Ning Cheng. If Ning Cheng wanted to do anything to him, it would only end up as a vindictive villain. Ning Cheng looked at Fei Feng and said calmly, Sect Master Fei has just taken over as the Profound Moon Spirit Gate's Sect Master. Among all the major sects, you're probably the Sect Master who has been in charge of a sect for the shortest time. Therefore, it's understandable that Sect Master Fei didn't think of a way for others to come to the Grand Essence Realm and leave as they pleased. After all, it's only been a short time, and they don't have a sense of belonging to my Grand Essence Realm yet. Fei Feng's expression suddenly turned ugly. Ning Cheng said that he, the Sect Master, had an unknown origin. Moreover, he also scolded him for not considering the Grand Essence Realm. So, does Guild Master Ning already have a way? If the Pill Association has a way, my profound Moon Spirit Gate will do its best for the Grand Essence Realm. Fei Feng spoke with a cold tone. Ning Cheng ignored Fei Feng and continued speaking in a clear voice. Fellow Taoists, the first thing I've gathered everyone here today is to rearrange the Grand Essence Realm's boundary-protecting Grand Array. I can't arrange this boundary-protecting Grand Essence Realm by myself. This time, Ning Cheng couldn't even finish his words, and the entire Heaven Essence public square turned noisy. Even when Ning Cheng said that he killed Man Suyin, there wasn't this much enthusiasm. Rearrange the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protection Grand Array? Was this a joke? This required at least a top-grade Spirit Array Master, or even someone above the level of a Spirit Array Master. Not only that, but this Array Formation Grandmaster also needed to be a top-grade Array Dao genius. Otherwise, this Boundary Protection Grand Array could only be a dream. You want to arrange the Boundary Protection Grand Array? Even Xue Ying looked at Ning Cheng in shock. He didn't expect that Ning Cheng had gathered everyone here to discuss the arrangement of the Boundary Protection Grand Array. Xue Ying, all the sect masters, and all the cultivators on the public square thought that they had heard wrong. How many materials and manpower did the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array need? After hearing Ning Cheng's words, most people's eyes fell on a middle-aged man with a purple copper face. If they wanted to arrange the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array, this person was the most qualified to speak. In the Grand Essence Realm, Sky Array Valley was second only to the top 10 sections. And this middle-aged man with a purple copper face was the sect master of Sky Array Valley, Sha Su. Sha Su was not only the sect master of Sky Array Valley but also a top-grade Spirit Array Master. Moreover, he was also the only top-grade Spirit Array Master in the Grand Essence Realm. With so many eyes focusing on him, Sha Su also stood up. He cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng and said, "Association Master Ning, I've thought about your wish for countless years. Unfortunately, my strength is too low. Not to mention arranging the Boundary Protection Grand Array, I can't even control the general layout." Sha Su's meaning was clear. If you want to rely on me to arrange the Boundary Protection Grand Array, then I can only disappoint you. I don't have the strength to do so. Ning Cheng quickly cupped his hands and said, "As for arranging the Boundary Protection Grand Array, I'll need Sect Master Sha's help. As for setting up the Boundary Protection Grand Array, I'll be the one to complete it. Of course, I can't complete the arrangement of the Boundary Protection Grand Array alone. I'll need at least 100,000 Array Dao Grandmasters to help." "What? Association Master Ning, you said you'll be the one to lead the arrangement of the Boundary Protection Grand Array? This isn't a joke. The Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array isn't an ordinary planet's Boundary Protection Grand Array." This Sha Su asked in shock. If it weren't for Ning Cheng, the new association master, killing Man Suotin and inviting Shuang, giving him such a high status, he might have already questioned him. The Sunken Fish Palace's Palace Master Luan stood up. "Sect Master Sha, I don't think Association Master Ning is boasting. The reason why Man Xian didn't escape is because Association Master Ning's array formation locked him down. If I'm not wrong, Association Master Ning's Array Dao has already surpassed the level of Spirit Array Masters." Sha Su originally wanted to ask Ning Cheng about the Array Dao. But when he heard the Sunken Fish Palace's Palace Master Luan say that Ning Cheng's array formation trapped Man Xian, he immediately stopped what he wanted to say. To trap a Dao integration expert, even if he spent another 1,000,000 years, he wouldn't be able to arrange it. As for saying that Ning Cheng's Array Dao had surpassed the level of Spirit Array Masters, he didn't believe it. "Association Master Ning, do you really have the confidence to arrange the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array?" Xue Ying couldn't help but ask again. Ning Cheng looked at the many eyes staring at him. He knew that everyone wanted to ask this question, but Xue Ying asked it for everyone. Ning Cheng calmly responded to all the gazes looking at him and spoke with an affirmative tone. As long as you help me and give me what I need, I can definitely arrange the Grand Essence Realm's entrapment array. Okay, if you can arrange the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array, I, Xue Ying, will be the first to support you. Not only will I not take anything from you, but I will also promise you a condition, Xue Ying said immediately. He didn't say what Ning Cheng would do if he couldn't arrange the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array. But he believed that Ning Cheng would know. If he couldn't arrange it, then he would die. Using the full support of a Dao integration expert, if Ning Cheng couldn't complete the defensive array, how could he continue to stay in Ning Cheng? Okay, I just need you to help me once. Ning Cheng didn't say this out loud but sent a voice transmission to Xue Ying. Hee, I didn't expect someone in my Grand Essence Realm to boast about arranging a defensive array. I'll support you today. If you can't arrange the defensive array by then, don't blame me, Shi Yiqing, for being impolite. Another voice came, and a woman sitting on a chair suddenly appeared in front of the Heaven Essence Sacred City's public square. Ning Cheng felt shocked. He didn't even notice when the other party came, but she was already sitting here. This kind of strength was terrifying to the extreme. This person definitely surpassed Dao integration. Since when did the Grand Essence Realm have so many Dao integration experts? This person was a woman. Was she the one from the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond? Sure enough, just as Ning Cheng thought of this, the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond's sect master came over with a bow. Ning Cheng suddenly understood. Sure enough, it was the Dao Integration Holy Emperor from the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond. I knew you would come out when the Grand Essence Realm arranged the defensive array, Xue Ying chuckled and stopped talking. Ning Cheng swept his gaze across the public square but didn't see anyone from the Void Star sect, let alone the Dao Integration Holy Emperor from the Void Star sect. From the looks of it, not all Dao integration experts came out when he said he wanted to arrange the defensive array. Only the Dao integration experts from the 2 sacred sects came out, and one of them was even incited by him. Pill Association's Ning Cheng greets Senior Shi. Since I said it, I'm confident that I can arrange it. As for the details of the defensive array, please forgive this junior for not being able to tell you. Ning Cheng spoke with a tone that was neither arrogant nor humble. He suspected that Shi Qianghua was in the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond, but he didn't have a good impression of the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond. Shi Yiqing waved her hand and spoke up impatiently, I'm not blind. I can see. Her implication was the same as Xue Ying's. That is, if you can't arrange it, you're dead. Ning Cheng didn't care about Shi Yiqing's threat and continued. Arranging the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array is the first thing to do right now. I hope that the sect masters of the major sects will join forces to help. At the same time, I also invite all the spirit array masters in the Grand Essence Realm to participate. As for the materials for the array, I ask every sect and every cultivator in the Grand Essence Realm to donate them. After the Grand Essence Realm's defensive Grand Array is completed, I will set up the Grand Essence Boundary Steel in the Grand Essence Sacred City's public square. The ranking of sects or individuals on the Grand Essence Boundary Steel will be based on the number of materials they contribute. The higher the ranking, the more rights they will enjoy in the Grand Essence Realm. Chapter 1132. When Ning Cheng said those words, the faces of the sect masters of the various sects turned ugly. This move was just too vicious. Ning Cheng wanted to set up a boundary protection grand array. As long as it didn't involve the interests of other sects, no one would care about it. If you asked others to donate materials, would others really donate materials? If I don't donate materials, do you think you can rob me? But now, Ning Cheng wanted to set up the Grand Essence Boundary Steel and engrave the amount of materials each sect donated on it. This way, it would be clear at a glance who donated how much. If a sect ended up donating less materials than an individual, then that sect's reputation in the Grand Essence Realm would be ruined. Association Master Ning, I think the amount of materials donated should be based on the willingness of each sect. This time, it was Heaven Essence Sacred City's City Lord Lu Jiexing who came forward to speak. Dao friend Lu, I just said that the Grand Essence boundary steel should be set up according to the contribution of each sect. Even if Dao friend Lu doesn't donate a single blade of grass, no one will say anything about it. After the boundary protection grand array is completed and the Grand Essence boundary steel is erected, we will hold another Grand Essence Realm sect meeting. For the rich sects, we won't pull out even a single hair. We will vote on whether to persuade them to leave the Grand Essence Realm. For those sects with very little contribution, we will strictly restrict their sects from leaving the Grand Essence Realm. Ning Qing didn't wait for Lu Jiexing to finish his words and directly interrupted Lu Jiexing. He didn't even allow Lu Jiexing to say the words Grand Essence Boundary Steel. Lu Jiexing was at a loss for words. But looking at the strength of the Pill Association, he had no choice but to shut up. Even Lu Jiexing was blocked by Ning Qing. Some of the weaker sects didn't dare to stand up at this time even if they wanted to oppose it. But Lu Jiexing didn't expect that Ning Qing didn't stop there. After finishing his words, he looked at Lu Jiexing and said, Dao friend Lu, Heaven Essence Sacred City has fallen into chaos under your leadership. Fighting, killing, ignoring the flight ban. Therefore, Heaven Essence Sacred City will no longer be under your control. Instead, the Pill Association will take over. The Grand Essence Realm will establish the Grand Essence Dao Court. After the Boundary Protection Grand Array is completed, Heaven Essence Sacred City will be directly under the control of the Grand Essence Dao Court. Lu Jiexing's face turned livid with anger. But even after he looked around, no one stood up to speak for him. He could only swallow his words again. He reckoned that if he dared to refute again, this surnamed Ning might find an excuse to kill him. In fact, Lu Jiexing had not guessed wrong. If he dared to continue to refute, Ning Qing would have directly taken out a few pieces of evidence and let the people from the Pill Association kill Lu Jiexing. At this time, he wanted to use the East Wind to rebuild the order of the Grand Essence Realm. He absolutely couldn't let a nobody like Lu Jiexing stand up and refute him. If Lu Jiexing refuted him and he didn't deal with him, that would be the worst. Seeing Lu Jiexing holding back his anger, Ning Qing didn't take it out on him again. Instead, he continued, this is the second thing I wanted to say. I hope to establish the Grand Essence Dao Court in the Grand Essence Realm after the completion of the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array. The Grand Essence Dao Court didn't want to control the major sects, but to maintain the general safety of the Grand Essence Realm and reconcile the conflicts between the major sections. To put it bluntly, if a powerhouse comes to our Grand Essence Realm one day, and everyone sweeps the snow in front of their door, and no one can take the lead to protect our Grand Essence Realm, what would the result be? No one objected to Ning Qing's proposal. The Grand Essence Realm already had such an organization, the Grand Essence Realm's Sect Alliance. It's just that this Sect Alliance only had a name here, and it usually only did some trivial things. For example, the opening of Mystic Realms, the extraterritorial spirit spring that Ning Qing participated in before, the Grand Essence Realm Spirit Technique Pavilion, and so on. Now that Ning Qing proposed to establish a Dao Court, it would have many more comprehensive functions compared to the Sect Alliance. May I know who the Dao Court's Dao Monarch will be? Desolate Spirit Palace's Xiao Luojin asked. Ning Qing cupped his fists towards Xiao Luojin before replying, I suggest that the first Dao Monarch will be River Luo Sacred Sect's Senior Shueying. As for the subsequent Dao Monarchs, Senior Shueying will nominate the successor. Of course, if the Dao Court's Dao Monarch can't satisfy the many sects in the Grand Essence Realm, we can also appoint a new Dao Monarch through the Sect Assembly. Shueying was a Dao Perfection powerhouse, and he was also in the midst of crossing the Second Heaven's Blight. With such strength, no one would have any objections to becoming a Dao Monarch. Shueying glanced at Ning Qing. How could he not understand Ning Qing's meaning? Ning Qing wanted to return the favor. Because of his support as a Dao Perfection powerhouse, he was allowed to become a Dao Monarch. He was currently crossing the Second Heaven's Blight and wasn't in the mood to become a Dao Monarch. After Ning Qing finished speaking, he slowly said, Dao Monarchs don't have to have the strongest cultivation, but they must make the greatest contribution to the Grand Essence Realm. If Association Master Ning can arrange the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array, I, Shui Ying, will support Association Master Ning to become a Dao Monarch. Shui Ying's words truly came from the bottom of his heart. Ever since Ning Cheng killed Man Siyin, he knew that Ning Cheng would one day stand at the same height as him. If Ning Cheng could really arrange the boundary protecting Grand Array, it meant that Ning Cheng's future achievements might even surpass his. For such a person, he would naturally try to befriend him. Of course, all of this was based on Ning Cheng arranging the boundary protecting Grand Array. Otherwise, there was no need to talk about it. I also agree. If Association Master Ning can arrange the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array, my 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond will also support Association Master Ning to become the first Dao Court Dao Monarch. Shi Yiqing followed behind Shui Ying and spoke up. Apparently, she had already thought of what Shui Ying thought of. Ning Cheng also understood the meaning behind Shui Ying and Shi Yiqing's words. They wanted to see how he could complete the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array. However, he didn't care about it at all. Setting up the boundary protecting Grand Array was something he wanted to accomplish in the first place. With 2 Dao Perfection Holy Emperors supporting Ning Cheng to become the first Dao Monarch, other sects wouldn't dare to say half a word against it. Seeing the major sects agreeing to let him become the first Dao Monarch, Ning Cheng didn't continue to decline. He didn't care about this Dao Monarch. The current situation was that if he became the first Dao Monarch of the Grand Essence Realm, whether it was arranging the boundary protecting Grand Array or gathering the strength of the Grand Essence Realm, it would be of great help. Many thanks for your support, Dao friends. This Ning will boldly appoint the first Dao Monarch to preside over the arrangement of the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array. Although the Dao Court hasn't been established yet, I want to announce one thing first. Ancient Crossing Mysterious Clans Patriarch Li Feng, River Luo Sacred Sects Sect Master Wang Huazhong, 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Ponds Sect Master Dai Fu, 7 Star Sacred Sects Deputy Sect Master Mu Yuan Kong, Profound Moon Spirit Gates Sect Master Fei Feng, Desolate Spirit Palaces Sect Master Xiao Luojin, Flaming Feather Spirit Mountains Sect Master Peng Chiyuan, Sunken Fish Palaces Palace Master Luan, Silver Dragon Clans Patriarch Gong Wu, and Sky Array Valleys Sha Su will be the Dao Court's 10 court pillars. Ning Cheng's words immediately made many people feel relieved. It was clear that Ning Cheng didn't want the Pill Association to be the king and stand above the top 10 sections. Sky Array Valley's sect Master Sha Su even stood up to express his gratitude. Sky Array Valley was still far from the top 10 sections. Now that Ning Cheng made him one of the Dao Court's 10 court pillars, it meant that Ning Cheng wanted Sky Array Valley to replace the Barbarian Dragon Clan as one of the top 10 sects of the Grand Essence Realm. This was Ning Cheng's goodwill. All he had to do was to help Ning Cheng complete the boundary protecting Grand Array. Clan head Li Feng will be in charge of the materials contributed by the sections. The other 9 major sects will supervise and strive to complete the arrangement of the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array in a fair and just manner. After Ning Cheng finished speaking, everyone in the Sky Essence Public Square voiced their support. Even Fei Feng didn't say anything. He and Ning Cheng had conflicts, but Ning Cheng still made him one of the 10 court pillars for the sake of the overall situation. If he didn't know what was good for him, Ning Cheng would most likely kill Fei Feng before completing the boundary protecting Grand Array. Seeing that no one had any objections, Ning Cheng said, after the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array is completed, the top 10 contributors will have an array talisman to enter and exit the boundary protecting Grand Array at any time. They won't have to apply to the Dao Court every time. Although he only mentioned it briefly, Ning Cheng knew that those major sects wouldn't fall behind. As for the Dao Court's future income, Ning Cheng didn't mention it at all. He didn't even mention that the major sects would pay taxes. As long as the boundary protecting Grand Array was completed, the Dao Court would control the boundary protecting Grand Array. Ning Cheng didn't care about this wealth, but it would be enough to support the Dao Court's operations. What's more, the Dao Court's business would spread throughout the entire Grand Essence Realm. Ning Cheng convened the Grand Essence Realm's sect assembly as the Pill Association's association master. Because several primordial essence holy emperors from the Pill Association had come, the mysterious fairy ancient clan and sunken fish palace fully supported the Pill Association, and Silver Dragon clan's Gong Huayu was also Ning Cheng's friend. Coupled with Shui Ying and Shi Yiqing's support, this assembly didn't feel any pressure at all. Not only would Ning Cheng establish the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court, but he would also become the Dao Court's first Dao Lord. One could say that this sect assembly organized by the Pill Association was a 100% success. At this time, countless alchemists gathered on the Sky Essence Public Square. Li Feng and the other 8 major sect masters personally took charge and began to collect materials. Countless sects and individuals came here to contribute materials. It wasn't that they wanted to be in the top 10 contributors, but everyone knew that if they contributed too little, it would be even more difficult to leave through the boundary protecting Grand Array in the future. If they contributed more at this time, it would be more convenient for them to leave in the future. Pill Association's Association Master Ning Cheng killed Man Siyin and gained the support of 2 Dao Perfection experts to preside over the boundary protecting Grand Array. No one would think that he was talking nonsense. Sky Array Valley's Sha Su didn't participate in the material collection. Instead, he led tens of thousands of Spirit Array Masters with Ning Cheng and refined various array flags according to Ning Cheng's instructions. The Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array had nothing to do with the Grand Essence Realm's laws. Therefore, the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array wasn't any simpler than the Grand Change Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array. All kinds of array flags were refined and piled up on one side. Everyone knew that these array flags were used to arrange the boundary protecting Grand Array. However, no one knew what kind of protective array this was. Even Sha Su didn't know what this boundary protecting Grand Array was. Only one person guided and controlled the arrangement of this boundary protecting Grand Array, and that was Pill Association's Association Master Ning Cheng. Chapter 1133. Ever since Ning Cheng became the Dao Lord of the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court and announced the arrangement of the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array, the Grand Essence Realm had never been so united. Almost every day, people rushed to Heaven Essence Sacred City to donate materials. Almost every day, Spirit Array Masters and some powerhouses came to Heaven Essence Sacred City, asking to contribute to the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array. There was another legend in the Grand Essence Realm. The reason why the Grand Change Realm's laws were complete, apart from a powerful boundary protection treasure, was because of the Grand Change Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array. At that time, the Boundary Protection Grand Array blocked some of the attacks, allowing the Grand Change Realm to remain safe and sound under the protection of the Boundary Protection treasure. Because of this, everyone realized how important it was for the Grand Essence Realm to have a top-grade Boundary Protection Grand Array. As for the person in charge of arranging the Boundary Protection Grand Array, Pill Association Master Ning Cheng gained more and more respect from the Grand Essence Realm's cultivators. This respect wasn't just because Ning Cheng was the Dao Lord of the Grand Essence Dao Court, nor was it because Ning Cheng presided over the arrangement of the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array. It was because Ning Cheng personally took out a Xiantian weapon and prepared to use this Xiantian weapon to suppress the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array. Even a single Khanate artifact would be far more valuable than all of the materials that they had brought out. Ning Cheng was so selfless that it would be hard not to respect him. If anyone were to ask themselves honestly if they had a Khanate treasure, they would definitely not take it out to suppress the Boundary Protection Array. Under such preconditions, anyone who tried to stop Ning Cheng from arranging the barrier protecting Grand Array, or anyone who disobeyed Ning Cheng on the surface, wouldn't even need Ning Cheng to say anything. Ning Cheng did take out a Xiantian weapon to suppress the Boundary Protection Grand Array. This Xiantian weapon was the Mountain River Dipper that he hadn't refined yet. Taking out this Mountain River Dipper was because Ning Cheng already had a treasure. Secondly, once Feng Xian came looking for him, he would become the enemy of the entire Grand Essence Realm. Ning Cheng didn't intend to give the Mountain River Dipper to the people around him. If he took out this thing without a certain level of strength, It would only provoke hatred and make him die faster. Because he needed to suppress the Boundary Protection Grand Array, he directly handed the Mountain River Dipper to Shui Ying and Shi Yiqing to help him refine the Tao consciousness within it. Shui Ying and Shi Yiqing were both Tao integration experts. No matter how strong the Tao consciousness left by Feng Xian was, it would not be able to withstand their joint refinement. Ning Cheng brought out the magnanimity of the Mountain and River Dipper, which also won the appreciation of Shui Ying and Shi Yiqing. Although both of them were Tao integration powerhouses, even if they had a treasure like the Mountain and River Dipper, they probably wouldn't be willing to take it out to suppress the Grand Essence Realm's protective array. In fact, Ning Cheng didn't just take out a Mountain River Dipper to suppress the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array. He also took out a bead. This pearl was the innate dragon pearl he obtained from Mansoon. He only said that he took out the Mountain River Dipper, but he didn't say that he also took out an innate dragon pearl to suppress the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array. Ning Cheng was going to make the Grand Essence Realm his lair, so how could he be careless about it? Taking out the innate dragon bead as one of the array cores of the Grand Array Protecting Array was to completely control the Grand Essence Realm's Grand Array Protecting Array in his hands. As for the Mountain and River Dipper, even if Shui Ying and Shi Yiqing erased their Tao consciousness, Ning Cheng was still the one presiding over the Grand Array. Therefore, he could leave behind his spiritual sense and Tao consciousness. Moreover, he could leave it openly. Everyone knew that Ning Cheng presided over the Boundary Protection Grand Array. Therefore, he had to leave behind his spiritual sense and Tao consciousness in the array core. The current Grand Essence Realm looked very stable, and everyone seemed to be busy with the Boundary Protection Grand Array. Lu Jiexing consciously moved out of Heaven Essence, Sacred City. As for Fei Feng, Ning Cheng didn't plan to look for him. When Qi Shixingsing returned in the future, he would leave Fei Feng's matters to Qi Shixingsing. Since the Star Stepping Tower Master disappeared from Heaven Essence Sacred City, the Tao Court's people decided to change the Star Stepping Tower in Heaven Essence Sacred City into a rest stop for the Tao Court. It had been 5 years since Ning Cheng presided over the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array. On this day, almost everyone in the Grand Essence Realm focused on the void outside the Grand Essence Realm. Everyone knew that if nothing unexpected happened, the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array would close today. In other words, the Boundary Protection Grand Array would be completed today. Bursts of rumbling sounds came from the void in the distance. The rumbling sounds grew more and more oppressive, and the spatial fluctuations in the void grew more and more intense. Gotcha! Finally, almost everyone in the Grand Essence Realm cheered. This sound signified that the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array had finally closed. In the future, if anyone wanted to come to the Grand Essence Realm, they wouldn't be able to do so without the permission of the Grand Essence Realm's Tao Court. The Grand Essence Realm would no longer be a back garden that others could come and go as they pleased. Why does it feel like something's wrong? The moment the Boundary Protection Grand Array closed, someone spoke up in doubt. I also noticed it. It seems that my perception of the Tao sense of heaven and earth has become clearer. A Tao Essence Holy Emperor at the second step Tao confirming realm sneered when he heard this. The Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws have shattered, and the Tao charm of heaven and earth is constantly dissipating. Now that the Boundary Protection Grand Array is complete, the dissipation speed of the Tao charm of heaven and earth laws has instantly weakened. Cultivating and comprehending it naturally can't be compared to before. Sigh, I didn't expect that after the Boundary Protection Grand Array was set up, the Tao charm of heaven and earth laws of the Grand Essence Realm would inevitably dissipate. Maybe one day the Grand Essence Realm will really shatter and disintegrate. Another cultivator who understood the same thing said with a sigh. There were many broken planets in the void. Some of them were formed by meteorite impacts, and some were formed because the Tao charm of the planets gradually dissipated. In the end, the planets would turn into lifeless meteorites. The Tao Essence Holy Emperor who spoke before shook his head. There's no other way. Unless someone can repair the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws. If you want to repair the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws, Speaking until here, even he couldn't go on. Ning Cheng stood in the void on the newly built Void Plaza outside the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array. He actually set up the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array. Moreover, all the movements of this Grand Array were under his control. Congratulations, Dao Lord. Congratulations, Association Master Ning. Many Spirit Array Masters and some Primordial Essence Holy Emperors who participated in setting up the array came up to congratulate Ning Cheng. Then they congratulated each other. No matter who participated in setting up this level of Boundary Protection Grand Array, it was an extremely glorious thing. Ning Cheng cupped his fists and congratulated them while sighing inwardly. Only he knew that this Boundary Protection Grand Array hadn't been fully set up. If it had been fully set up, it would have taken another few decades. However, Ning Cheng was already very satisfied. No matter who entered the Grand Essence Realm from any place, they would be blocked by the array formation. Only with the consent of the Grand Essence Realm could one enter the Grand Essence Realm. The Grand Essence Realm was no longer a place where one could come and go as they pleased. Perhaps this Boundary Protection Grand Array couldn't block third-step Dao confirming powerhouses, but Ning Cheng estimated that it shouldn't have any problems blocking Feng Xian. He originally wanted to set up the Boundary Protection Grand Array to deal with Feng Xian. The number of array masters and powerhouses who participated in setting up the Boundary Protection Grand Array added up to hundreds of thousands. After several years of hard work by hundreds of thousands of us, we finally set up the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array. I would like to thank all the Dao friends who participated in setting up the array. Thank you. The glory of completing the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array belongs to each and every one of us from the Grand Essence Realm. Ning Cheng expressed his sincere gratitude. With this Boundary Protection Grand Array, he now had a real foothold in the Grand Essence Realm. Void Star Sect. As a mysterious sect, very few people knew the details of the Void Star Sect. If Ning Cheng hadn't refined the sky-replenishing vein bone pill for the Void Star Sect's ancestor Kong, not many people would have known that the Void Star Sect had a Dao Perfection powerhouse. At this time, in the depths of the Void Star Sect, an old man sat on a chair with a frown. Several Void Star Sect cultivators stood on both sides. Wu Buffing, with a dark face and a pair of slender eyes hanging on his forehead, stood on the left side of the old man. As for Ning Cheng's familiar friend, Percy, he wasn't here. After a long time, the old man spoke up, "Have the things been sent away?" Wu Buffing quickly bowed and said, replying to the old ancestor, "Percy has already sent them away, including 3 high-rank spirit veins and various array materials." The old man called Old Ancestor was the Void Star Sect's Dao Perfection powerhouse, Ancestor Kong, whom Ning Cheng had rescued. However, Ancestor Kang's current strength was no longer the same as when he had been poisoned. Dao runes circulated around him, making him many times stronger than Wu Buffing, who stood beside him. Ancestor Kong took in a deep breath and said slowly, "Send 10 times the amount." Wu Buffing didn't feel anything wrong, but the rest of the people exclaimed in disbelief. 10 times the amount, that was equivalent to 30 spirit veins. How many array materials would that add up to? Ancestor Kong sighed. I sensed the Grand Essence Realm's realm-protecting Grand Array closing up. Even I can't break this realm-protecting Grand Array. In other words, even if I want to leave the Grand Essence Realm, I would need Ning Cheng's permission. When Ancestor Kong said this, everyone fell silent. Ancestor Kang's strength had already recovered infinitely and was about to return to its peak. If Ancestor Kong said that he couldn't break the array and leave, then who else could? Wu Buffing frowned slightly, feeling a little regretful. Back in the Grand Essence Ruins, he had done something wrong. But who knew that Ning Cheng, a mere Dao sculpting Holy Emperor, could rise to such a terrifying level? Buffing, do you have anything to say? Ancestor Kong immediately saw Wu Buffing's frown and asked. Wu Buffing also sighed. We offended him in the past and even threatened him. I'm afraid that this person will bear a grudge. Ancestor Kong showed a slight smile. This Ning Cheng will definitely bear a grudge. Just look at his style of doing things. But my Void Star sect isn't afraid of him. I heard that he will hold a second sect meeting after the array closes up, right? Wu Buffing quickly replied. Ancestor Kong nodded. Our Void Star sect didn't participate in the first one, but I will lead the team to participate in the second one. Chapter 1134. In the Boundless Palace, Feng Xian held a jade strip with a murderous look on his face. An ant not only snatched his mountain river dipper but also refined a trace of his Tao consciousness spiritual sense. Ning Cheng's origin was vague in the jade strip, but Ning Cheng's whereabouts were clear. After Ning Cheng escaped from the Boundless Palace, he didn't go far. Instead, he continued to disguise himself as a rogue cultivator and snatched the wood origin bead from the fallen wood temple. After that, the void markets that Ning Cheng suspected of passing through were listed one after another, all the way to the 5 realms void markets. After the 5 realms void market, Ning Cheng's whereabouts were unknown, and no other void markets indicated that Ning Cheng had been there. If there was only this piece of information, Feng Xian could only confirm that Ning Cheng most likely came from the 5 grand realms. But then another piece of news made Feng Xian sure that Ning Cheng came from the Grand Essence realm. Ning Cheng was one of the top 3 in the 5 realms pill competition, and there were hundreds of millions of people with the same name in the void. However, both of them used spears, which made Feng Xian sure that Ning Cheng had either gone to the Grand Change realm or the Grand Essence realm. And the news from the Grand Change realm that Ning Cheng had fallen made Feng Xian sure that Ning Cheng had gone to the Grand Essence realm. How long will it take to get to the Grand Essence realm from the Boundless Palace? Feng Xian put the jade strip on the jade table in front of him and asked in a calm tone. The pretty female cultivator standing in front of him said respectfully, "If we use all the resources of the Boundless Palace, we can reach the Grand Essence realm in less than 2 years. If we use the teleportation array in the void markets, it will take about 5 years. From now on, use all resources and head to the Grand Essence realm as fast as possible." Feng Xian stood up and said without hesitation. He was afraid, not of Ning Cheng, but of the Grand Change realm's powerhouses. Ning Cheng must have something coveted, which was why he was being chased in the Grand Change realm. Otherwise, the news of Ning Cheng's death in the Grand Change realm wouldn't have spread. Once the Grand Change realm's powerhouses reached the Grand Essence realm first, Feng Xian wouldn't have a share of the wood origin bead. Even his mountain river dipper might not be able to find it. Although he was a Tao integration expert, he could not dominate the Great Change realm. The Great Change realm could even prevent him from entering the boundary. Do you want to issue an order to gather together or not? The pretty-looking female cultivator quickly bowed and asked. Feng Xian pondered for a moment and then said, "The Grand Essence realm is very broken, and there are only a few Tao integration experts, no more than a handful. These Tao integration cultivators probably didn't have the time to care about a mere Tao actualization divine emperor. What's more, I'm guessing that there's only one person who can really make a move, and I, Feng Xian, don't take this person seriously. Let's go to the Grand Essence realm and take Ning Cheng away. There's no need to ask for help from fellow Taoists." The pretty-looking female cultivator cautiously said, "The Grand Essence realm doesn't have a protective array, so you can come and go as you please. I'm not worried about the Grand Essence realm. I'm worried about the people from the Grand Change realm. If they also send people to the Grand Essence realm, I'm afraid that our Boundless Realm Palace would suffer a loss." Hearing this, Feng Xian nodded solemnly. "Yeah, you're right. You go over first. I'll personally stay behind to issue the Boundless Palace's recruitment order and gather fellow Taoists from all over to help. As soon as you succeed, send me a message immediately." "Yes, but Palace Master, it won't be a problem for my Boundless Palace to gather fellow Taoists from all over the world. I'm worried that once we gather so many people, we'll have to travel a long distance to the Grand Essence realm." Without waiting for the pretty-looking female cultivator to finish speaking, Feng Xian chuckled, "Don't worry about it here. My Boundless Palace can still come up with this reward. What's more, I'm not going to the Grand Essence realm this time to give rewards to others. I'm inviting everyone to look for opportunities together. Although the Grand Essence Realm is broken, it's still one of the 5 Grand Realms. As long as we flip the Grand Essence Realm upside down, I believe we can dig out some treasures. The pretty-looking female cultivator looked at her boss in shock. She never expected the palace master to be so ambitious. He wanted to rob a realm. This was simply heaven-defying. But those Dao integration experts? The pretty-looking female cultivator couldn't help but speak up. Feng Xian sneered. As far as I know, there are only 4 or 5 Dao integration experts in the Grand Essence Realm. I heard that old man Qinglan has long since left the Grand Essence Realm. Kang Xiushan suffered from one of the 10 poisons in the world, the tattoo bone poison, hundreds of thousands of years ago. Unless Mu Zuoxiao helps him with alchemy, he won't be able to cure it. He can't even go to the Grand Change Realm, let alone ask Mu Zuoxiao to help him with alchemy. What's more, even if he begged, Ao Beijiang would slap him to death. At this point, he paused for a moment before continuing. Shi Yiqing is just a woman. I heard that she damaged her essence spirit in the process of her 9 soul revolutions. I'm afraid she won't be able to survive the second Dao integration blight in this life. I can easily kill a woman like her. The only thing I have to worry about is Shui Ying. I heard that Shui Ying began to cross the second heaven's blight tens of thousands of years ago. I don't know if he crossed it or if he's still in the middle of it. It's not a problem. When the pretty female cultivator heard this, she quickly said, I heard that the barbarian dragon clan of the Grand Essence Sea was one of the top 10 dragon clans of the Grand Essence Sea. The barbarian dragon clan also had a Dao integration holy emperor, Mansu. Feng Xian nodded. Mansuyin is indeed a Dao integration holy emperor, but he's a monster. As long as we give him enough benefits, even if the Grand Essence Realm tumbles a few more times, he will only help and won't object. So, we don't have to worry about Mansutin. We can even use the barbarian dragon clan to join forces with him. You go to the Grand Essence Realm first and bring me a voice transmission jade slip to Mansun. The pretty female cultivator bowed and responded. Mansuatian nodded. Where did the 2 women with the wood origin bead go? Have you found out? The pretty female cultivator said, I've found out, and I'm about to report it to the palace master. According to the spatial fluctuations of Fallen Wood Temple and the testimonies of some cultivators who were nearby at the time, they most likely went to heavens beyond. When Feng Xian heard this, he suddenly stood up and asked in surprise, You're saying that they can teleport to heavens beyond outside the plane through an array disk? That's right, the pretty female cultivator responded. Feng Xian took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, No matter how much it costs, we have to go to heavens beyond and bring those 2 women to the boundless palace. At this point, Feng Xian raised his hand and threw out 2 messages. After a while, 2 figures quickly walked in. One of them was strong, while the other was thin. Upon seeing the 2 people come in, Feng Xian said, Feng Qi, go to heavens beyond with 11. Bring the 2 women with the wood origin bead to the boundless palace. Anyone who tries to stop you will be killed without mercy. The 2 people in front of him were called Feng Qi and Feng Shi. They were both Feng Xian's younger brothers. Feng Qi was at the late-stage primordial chaos, while Feng Shi was at the mid-stage primordial Dao. But the price? Feng Qi said with some worry. Even for the boundless palace, it was not easy to cross the plane to heavens beyond. There was no teleportation array between heavens beyond and this side of the void. Because of this, Feng Xian was shocked when he heard that there was a teleportation array disk that could teleport to heavens beyond. Bring those 2 women here at all costs, Feng Xian said with a wave of his hand. Ning Qing sat in the throne room of the Heaven Essence Sacred City's Dao Court. The sect masters of the 10 major sects were all here. In addition to the sect masters of the 10 major sects, almost all the famous sects, families, forces, and even rogue cultivators in the Great Essence Realm had come here. Ning Qing knew that the sect masters of the 10 great sects, even if they were the 10 court pillars of the Dao Court, only sat here to discuss things with him and not to listen to his orders. However, Ning Qing still felt like he was the king of the world. Shui Ying and Shi Yiqing did not come to this meeting. Instead, another Tao integration Holy Emperor, Ancestor Kong of the Void Star sect, came. Ning Cheng did not receive this Tao integration Holy Emperor alone. The Void Star sect was a typical despicable sect. If he was not the Tao Court's Tao Lord, Ning Cheng really did not want to meet this sect. Everyone in the Tao Court's throne room looked happy because Ning Cheng had fulfilled his original promise. He took hundreds of thousands of people to set up the Great Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Array. According to the conditions of the two Tao integration Holy Emperors, Ning Cheng would establish the Grand Essence Tao Court after setting up the Boundary Protection Array. Ning Cheng would also become the first Tao Lord of the Grand Essence Tao Court. In fact, this was just a ceremony. The Tao Court of the Grand Essence Realm had already existed when they started to set up the Boundary Protection Array. Ning Cheng was also excited, not because he was the Tao Court's Tao Lord, but because he had finally completed his first plan in 5 years. The Great Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Array was completed, and the Grand Essence Tao Court was established. This meant that the strength of the Grand Essence Realm had been condensed. In the future, if Feng Xian found the Grand Essence Realm, he would also have the qualifications to talk to Feng Xian. In the past 5 years, his cultivation did not make much progress. But because he led many people to set up the Boundary Protection Array, his attainment in the Tao of Arrays had reached a new level. Today, my Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Array is finally completed. Thank you to everyone who contributed to the Boundary Protection Array. From today onwards, anyone who wants to come to my Grand Essence Realm must first seek my Grand Essence Realm's permission. As everyone knows, the core of my Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Array is a Xiantian artifact, the Mountain River Dipper. Ning Cheng deliberately paused. Sure enough, after hearing the words Mountain River Dipper, everyone held their breath and listened to Ning Cheng's next words. I took the Mountain River Dipper from a man named Feng Yu. At that time, Feng Yu wanted to kill me, but he didn't want me to take the Mountain River Dipper. Feng Yu is nothing to worry about. He has a backer, the palace master of the Boundless Palace, Feng Xian. When Ning Cheng mentioned Feng Xian, many people's expressions changed slightly. Obviously, more than one person knew Feng Xian. Feng Xian is famous throughout the void. I believe many people here know him. He's also a Tao Perfection Holy Emperor. Tao Lord, Feng Xian is indeed a Tao Perfection Holy Emperor. Now that my Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Array is complete, even if he comes here, my Grand Essence Realm will not be afraid of him. To Ning Cheng's surprise, the first person to stand up to support him was Desolate Spirit Palace's Xiao Luojin. In fact, not only did Xiao Luojin understand Ning Cheng's meaning, but almost everyone else also understood Ning Cheng's meaning. Ning Cheng honestly spoke the truth and didn't arouse the disgust of many people. First, Ning Cheng was a Tao Lord. Second, Ning Cheng didn't keep the Mountain River Dipper for himself. Instead, he used it to suppress the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Array. One could say that the Mountain River Dipper was for the entire Grand Essence Realm to use. Chapter 1135. As soon as Xiao Luojin expressed his stance, the rest of the people also stood up. Apart from some people who really didn't care about Feng Xian's arrival, some people came for Ning Cheng, the Tao Lord. Ning Cheng was only a nominal Tao Lord and didn't have as much power as the Tao Lords of the Grand Change Realm. But there was no doubt that Ning Cheng's identity as a Tao Lord wasn't a puppet. Ning Cheng might not be able to command hundreds of people, but he would never be controlled by others. Ning Cheng also understood this. But he had never thought of becoming the ruler of a realm in the Grand Essence Realm. The reason why he spent so much energy on this was mainly to protect himself. If he could protect himself and the safety of the Grand Essence Realm, why not? Tao Lord Ning, my Void Star sect absolutely supports the Grand Essence Tao Court. If Feng Xian dares to come to the Grand Essence Realm, even if Tao friend Shui Ying and Tao friend Shi Yiqing can't spare the time, I Kong Xiushun will stand up. Ancestor Kong had long seen that Ning Cheng didn't care much about the Void Star sect, and he could see it from today's scene. One day, Ning Cheng would become a true Tao Lord of a realm. instead of cooperating with other sects like what they were doing now. His Void Star sect missed a chance to make friends and even started a feud with Ning Cheng. If he missed this opportunity again, the Void Star sect might never have a chance to make a comeback. Missing one opportunity could be considered an accident, but if he missed two opportunities, he deserved to die. He, Kang Xiushan, had seen the vicissitudes of life and the changes of mountains and rivers. In a short time, Ning Cheng went from a Dao sculpting cultivator to a Dao essence powerhouse, which was enough to shock everyone. Ning Cheng's luck was heaven-defying. Now, Ning Cheng led the sects of the Grand Essence Realm to complete the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array and even became a Dao Lord of a realm's Dao court with the support of two Dao Unification Holy Emperors. If he still wasn't optimistic about Ning Cheng, then he, Kang Xiushan, could only be regarded as a pig. Ning Cheng was also surprised. He knew that Kang Xiushan came here to participate in the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array. Kang Xiushan came here to make friends. He didn't care, nor was he surprised. After the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array was set up, even Kang Xiushan couldn't leave without his permission. Kang Xiushan took the initiative to take on the heavy responsibility of dealing with Feng Xian, which made Ning Cheng really surprised. In his opinion, Kang Xiushan and the Void Star sect that Kang Xiushan belonged to were a snobbish sect. This kind of sect was only willing to show the least amount of sincerity to obtain the greatest benefits. In any case, Kang Xiushan was a Dao integration stage Holy Emperor. Since Kang Xiushan had expressed his support for him, Ning Cheng also could not continue to ignore Kang Xiushan. When a Dao integration stage Holy Emperor said something like this, Ning Cheng had to give him some face. Otherwise, they would become enemies. Ning Cheng wasn't that stupid. He stood up and cupped his fists towards Kang Xiushan. With Senior Kang's words, my Grand Essence Realm will be as stable as Mount Tai. On behalf of all the Dao friends in the Grand Essence Realm, I thank Void Star Sect's Senior Kang for his hot-blooded commitment. Seeing Ning Cheng stand up, Kang Xiushan felt very satisfied. He knew that Ning Cheng was also able to see the facts clearly. In this case, it would be beneficial to both sides, as such there was no point in fighting with each other. With another Dao integration stage Holy Emperor supporting Ning Cheng, the atmosphere in the Tai Su Imperial Palace became even more fervent. It could be said that almost all the Dao integration stage Holy Emperors in the Grand Essence Realm supported Ning Cheng. The only Dao integration stage Holy Emperor who opposed the Pill Association, Manxian, was killed by Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng waited for the crowd to quiet down a little before standing up and speaking in a clear voice. I, the first Dao Lord of the Grand Essence Dao Court, Ning Cheng, hereby announce to all the Dao friends in the Grand Essence Realm that the Grand Essence Dao Court has been established. The Grand Essence Realm's lawlessness will never return. The days where they could come and go as they pleased in the Grand Essence Realm were gone forever. From today onwards, my Grand Essence Realm will have lawless competition. One day, my Grand Essence Realm will return to its peak. From today onwards, my Grand Essence Realm will be guarded by every cultivator from the Grand Essence Realm. Ning Cheng's voice spread out through the Grand Essence Realm's protective array. Except for those who were in seclusion, almost every corner of the Grand Essence Realm could hear Ning Cheng's announcement of the establishment of the Grand Essence Dao Court. At this moment, everyone in the Grand Essence Realm celebrated. No matter what happened in the future, having the Dao Court set the rules was much better than having lawless battles. At least if they offended someone in the void, they could escape back to the Grand Essence Realm without worrying about being chased after returning to the Grand Essence Realm. This kind of thing happened too many times in the past. After the establishment of the Grand Essence Dao Court, it would never return. After Ning Cheng finished speaking, the people in the Grand Essence Imperial Hall began to raise their cups in celebration. Ning Cheng raised his cup and said again, "Today, with the help of the establishment of the Grand Essence Dao Court, I would like to ask a favor from all the Dao friends. Dao Lord Ning, please speak." As long as it's related to my Grand Essence Realm, it's not just about Dao Lord Ning alone, but also about all of us. 7-star sacred sects Muyuan Kong rushed to speak first. Since the establishment of the Grand Essence Tao Court, Ning Cheng had appointed 10 court pillars. Among the 10 court pillars, even the Heavenly Array Valley, which had just joined the top 10 sects, had a sect master as a court pillar. Only in the 7-star sacred sect, Mu Yuan Kong, the deputy sect master, was one of the 10 court pillars. Mu Yuan Kong and Ning Cheng had no friendship at all. The only reason why Ning Cheng appointed him as one of the 10 court pillars was that the Pill Association had initiated the Grand Essence Realms sect meeting 5 years ago. The 7-star sacred sect had sent him, the deputy sect master, Mu Yuan Kong, instead of sect master Han Qianwei. Ning Cheng not only appointed Mu Yuan Kong as one of the 10 court pillars, but he also never asked about the life and death of the 7-star sacred sect's sect master Han Qianwei. Obviously, in the eyes of a Tao lord like Ning Cheng, Han Qianwei, who didn't attend the sect meeting, was directly ignored. In fact, when Ning Cheng announced the sect meeting, the 7-star sacred sect's sect master Han Qianwei knew about it because he had reported it. It was just that Han Qianwei had never put Ning Cheng in his eyes. In Han Qianwei's opinion, Ning Cheng was just a first-step Tao confirming ant. He wasn't qualified for Han Qianwei to support him. Han Qianwei didn't attend the sect meeting held by Ning Cheng in the name of the Pill Association. As for other things, he was too lazy to care about them. He chose to go into seclusion again to comprehend the Tao unification realm. Mu Yuan Kong also didn't say much. He didn't tell Han Qianwei that Ning Cheng had advanced to the Tao Essence realm and even joined forces with the others to kill Man Suotian. In addition, 2 Tao unification experts supported Ning Cheng. Since Han Qianwei didn't go into seclusion, Mu Yuan Kong attended the sect meeting held by the Pill Association. He was pleasantly surprised that he was appointed as one of the 10 court pillars. After arranging the Boundary Protection Grand Array, Mu Yuan Kong knew that he was right not to tell Han Qianwei about what Ning Cheng had done. As long as he maintained a good relationship with Ning Cheng, Han Qianwei wouldn't be able to do anything to him, Mu Yuan Kong. After missing several opportunities to express his loyalty, Mu Yuan Kong quickly expressed his support for Tao Lord Ning Cheng the moment Ning Cheng said it. Ning Cheng nodded in gratitude and continued, "As everyone knows, the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array has been completed. Unfortunately, the Grand Essence Realm's laws are still broken, and the Heaven and Earth Tao charm is incomplete. Not to mention the difficulty of Tao confirming and Tao fusion, even stepping into the second step is 10 times more difficult than stepping into the Grand Change Realm. This is also the reason why the number of second-step Tao confirming Holy Emperors in the Grand Essence Realm is far fewer than in the Grand Change Realm." Everyone in the hall sighed. Everyone knew that Ning Cheng was telling the truth, but no one could solve this problem. It wasn't like arranging a boundary protection grand array. As long as one's attainment in the array Tao reached a certain level, they could unite many array formation masters and accumulate time and materials. Since the laws of a top-level realm like the Grand Essence Realm were broken, there was no other way but to wait for destruction. The Void Star Sect's Tao Unification Holy Emperor Kong Xiushan sighed and said, "Back then, several third-step Tao-confirming powerhouses fought within the boundaries of the 5 great realms. Under the bombardment of good fortune treasures, only the Grand Change Realm barely managed to protect itself. The other 4 realms all shattered." Ning Cheng's heart moved and he quickly asked, "Senior Kong, do you know anything about the war of that year? What good fortune treasures were there?" Not only Ning Cheng, but many holy emperors in the hall also looked at Kong Xiushan. Few people knew about the secret of the destruction of the 5 great realms. Most people only knew that the Grand Essence Realm was broken because of the war between powerhouses. Kong Xiushan nodded, "I know a little about it. At the beginning of good fortune, primordial chaos had just begun. At the beginning of good fortune, there were 5 kinds of good fortune treasures. One was the good fortune indestructible axe, the second was the good fortune jade disc, the third was the good fortune golden page, the fourth was the good fortune mysterious yellow bead, and the fifth was the good fortune green lotus. After that war, the good fortune 5 treasures were lost between heaven and earth, and many of them were never heard from again." Kong Xiushan spoke with confidence. Ning Cheng knew that he had obtained the mysterious yellow bead. In addition to the good fortune treasures, There were countless Xiantian treasures and primordial chaos treasures that participated in the war. Even the good fortune treasures were shattered. Those Xiantian treasures were either smashed into pieces or fell into various major realms or the void. Fortunately, they didn't shatter. Some of them had their artifact spirits scattered, while others had their artifact spirits directly perished. When Kang Xiushan said this, Ning Cheng's heart moved. His starry sky wheel and everlasting blue thunder fort both lacked artifact spirits. Was it because they participated in the good fortune war? Kang Xiushan glanced at Ning Cheng and said, "The mountain and river dipper that Tao Lord Ning obtained is actually a treasure that participated in the good fortune war. It's one of the few lucky Xiantian treasures. I heard that the artifact spirit only fell into a deep sleep. This kind of Xiantian treasure is the best choice to suppress the Grand Essence Realm's boundary-protecting Grand Array. Many thanks, Senior Kang, for dispelling my doubts." Ning Cheng thanked him. Kang Xiushan told him a lot of secrets, which he had never heard before. Li Feng suddenly asked, "Brother Kang, may I ask if the Chaos Tree also participated in that battle?" Kang Xiushan nodded. "The Chaos Tree is the only one in the world. It's a treasure that doesn't lose out to any good fortune treasure. This tree did participate in that war. But in that war, the Chaos Tree also fell apart and scattered throughout the void. If someone can find a fragment of the Chaos Tree, they would have unlimited achievements." After a pause, Kang Xiushan continued, "Things like the Chaos Tree and the good fortune treasures all have their own origin spirit. Before they perish, they would find a place to hide or leave their inheritance. I heard that the Chaos Tree was broken in the Grand Beginning Realm, while the good fortune indestructible axe was broken in the void. I'm afraid that the good fortune indestructible axe didn't hide because its owner was too unyielding. As a result, the good fortune indestructible axe turned into countless fragments like its owner." Chapter 1136. Kang Xiushan smiled at Ning Cheng. "That's all I know. Tao Lord Ning, please get to the main point." Ning Cheng nodded and continued, "The reason why I said that the Grand Essence Realm's laws are broken is because I wonder if I can repair the Grand Essence Realm and rebuild the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws." As soon as Ning Cheng's words came out, it immediately caused an uproar. Ning Cheng said that he would arrange the number 1 defensive array in the Grand Essence Realm, which was a bit of a stretch. However, restoring the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws and perfecting the Grand Essence Realm was too unrealistic. It didn't make sense at all. Although everyone was talking noisily, Ning Cheng did not interrupt them. Those who were able to sit in this Tao Court's throne room were all reputable figures. They were either sect leaders or overlords of a region. The discussion didn't last long before the throne room quietened down. Whether Ning Cheng was in charge or not, at least Ning Cheng was still a Tao Lord. "Tao Lord Ning, although I know that your idea is good, and it's also for the sake of my Grand Essence Realm, at least this matter is a bit out of bounds." River Luo Sacred Sect's sect master Wang Huazhong said with cupped fists. The small rift between River Luo Sacred Sect and Ning Cheng mainly originated from Tong Mingzi and his disciple. Now that Xuering was optimistic about Ning Cheng, Tong Mingzi was nothing but a fart. Naturally, Wang Huazhong would not care about Tong Mingzi. What he meant was that he was on the side of the Tao Court. Ning Cheng spoke up in a very serious tone. "What Wang Tingzhu said makes sense. Everything depends on one's own effort. My current strength is still far from being able to repair a world. If I don't want to do this because I'm not strong enough, then the Grand Essence Realm will never have a chance to be restored. Only by preparing to do it could it be repaired. If you're not prepared to do it and think it's impossible, then you'll never be able to achieve it." After hearing Ning Cheng's words, many Saint Emperors stood up and expressed their support for Ning Cheng's decision. Although Ning Cheng's idea might be unrealistic, but there was one thing that Ning Cheng did not say wrong, that is, if you do not prepare to do it, then you will never be able to accomplish it. Only by doing it could one possibly accomplish something. It was just like setting up the sacred Tao world's realm protection grand array. Even without Ning Cheng, if someone took the lead, If 5 years were not enough, they could use 50 years, 500 years, or even 550,000 years to set up the Realm Protection Grand Array. It was just that no one had ever done it, which was why the Great Boundary Protection Array was still there. Ning Cheng's idea might never succeed, but the Grand Essence Realm needed a goal. The goal proposed by Ning Cheng was suitable for everyone to work towards. My Flaming Feather God Mountain supports Dao Lord Ning's decision. Peng Chiyuan quickly stood up and echoed. Ning Cheng had some friendship with his son Peng Shan and daughter Peng Ruime. Ning Cheng had even specifically asked about Peng Shan's whereabouts. At this time, he naturally had to stand up and support Ning Cheng. The Silver Dragon clan supports Dao Lord Ning's decision. Gong Wu, who hadn't had the chance to express her opinion, stood up now. Then, the sect masters of the Empyrean Extreme Island, the Big Dipper Seven Peaks, the Purple Fog Immortal Valley, and many other sects stepped forward to express their support. Even some sects who were unhappy with Ning City expressed their support. It wasn't like he would lose a piece of meat if he spoke. After thanking him, Ning Cheng continued. To repair a big interface like the Grand Essence Realm, you will need the Chaos Tree and the World Mountain. Just now, Senior Kong also said that the Chaos Tree had shattered in the Grand Beginning Realm. Finding the Grand Essence Realm to repair it was simply unrealistic. Even if we can find the Chaos Tree, the cultivators of the Great Beginning Realm won't let us use it to repair their realm. As for the World Mountain, I'm afraid no one knows where it is. Ning Cheng didn't know where the World Mountain was. However, Ning Cheng had some clues about the World Mountain. He had gone to the Grand Change Realm's Shallow Cloud Villa and obtained a model of the World Mountain. Later, he saved Shi and sent Shi and the others away in a hurry and didn't have time to ask about the World Mountain model. From this, it could be seen that the World Mountain and the Shallow Cloud Villa had a relationship. Whether it belonged to Shi or not, it had something to do with Shi. I learned from Court Pillar Li that there is another way to repair the Grand Essence Realm apart from the World Mountain and the Chaos Tree. It is to gather the Chaos 5 Earths, Breath Earth, Stable Earth, Gung Earth, Release Earth, Balance Earth, and 5 Element Spirit Water. Because the Grand Essence Nether Realm is broken, it no longer has the Reincarnation Tao. Therefore, we need the 7 Bridges Realm book to repair the Grand Essence Nether Realm. We can't get the 5 Element Spirit Water, but I have the 7 Bridges Realm book. I'm willing to take out the 7 Bridges Realm book to repair the Grand Essence Nether Realm and perfect the Reincarnation Tao. The mysterious fairy ancient clan has the life ring, and Patriarch Li is also willing to take it out. Even if we don't have the 5 Element Spirit Water, if we can get the Chaos 5 Earths, I believe that the Grand Essence Realm can be repaired. At least, it would be much better than it is now. Previously, many people didn't care about it. Even if they stood up to support Ning Cheng, it was just lip service. But now, Ning Cheng was willing to take out the 7 Bridges Realm book to repair the Reincarnation Tao, and Li Feng was willing to take out the life ring. This kind of noble sentiment truly moved everyone. Putting themselves in their shoes, if these two things were in their hands, would they be willing to take them out? Before, Ning Cheng had taken out the Mountain and River Dipper. After all, he had the idea of taking out a calamity. But now that Ning Cheng took out the 7 Bridges Realm book, it didn't mean anything different. What made everyone feel even more incredible was Patriarch Li Feng from the bottom of their hearts. The reason why the mysterious fairy ancient clan could become one of the top 10 sects and hide for so many years without losing its reputation was all because of the life ring. Now, Patriarch Li Feng was even willing to take out the life ring to repair the Grand Essence Realm. What could be more convincing and respectful than this? For a moment, everyone in the Dao Court's throne room stood up. Everyone felt shocked by Ning Cheng and Li Feng's decision, but at the same time, they also felt grateful for the two's decision. Many people had guessed that Ning Cheng had the 7 Bridges Realm book, but no one had expected Ning Cheng to take out the 7 Bridges Realm book. It's difficult for us to get the 5 Element Spirit Water, but I believe that we can get the Chaos 5 Earths through hard work. One person is weak, but many people are strong. I would like to ask all Dao friends to help us find the Chaos 5 Earths. My Grand Essence Realm must find the Chaos 5 Earths at all costs. Moreover, now that I have the 7th Earths, I only lack the remaining 4 Earths. After Ning Qing said this sentence, almost all the people expressed their heartfelt support for him. Ning Qing and Li Feng had taken out such a precious thing. If they had to think twice about finding the Chaos 5 Earths, it would truly be too much. Besides, Ning Qing had already found the 7th Earths, so what else was there to say? Ning Qing finally felt relieved. The primal Chaos 5 soils were different from the 5 elements origin beads. Song Wei had told him that since he possessed the mysterious yellow bead, he had an innate attraction towards the origin bead. As such, he could always obtain news about the origin bead. Moreover, the primal Chaos 5 soils were not something necessary to complete the mysterious yellow bead. As such, the probability of him encountering these 5 soils was no different from that of an ordinary person. As for taking the initiative to admit that he had Gung soil, Ning Qing already had a plan. Li Feng was not the only one who knew that Man Suyin had Gung soil on him. Since he killed Man Suyin, the Gung soil should be on him. If he took the initiative to say it, he would appear even more open and aboveboard, as if he was sincerely working to perfect the Grand Essence Realm's laws. Dalord, I know where Shi Yang is. More than 100,000 years ago, I went to a void city called the Thousand Ren Void City. Qianlong Void City had once auctioned a piece of released soil. At that time, a man with the surname Lei had bought it. I only remember that he had narrow eyes, a square face, and wore a green robe. After so many years, I don't know if this information is useful or not. The patriarch of the Silver Dragon clan, Gong Wu, stood up and said. Ning Qing couldn't help but admit that the older these people were, the more they knew about these things. Many thanks, Court Pillar Gong. I will definitely go to the Thousand Ren Void City in the future. Ning Qing stood up and thanked him. The person who bought Shi Yang and dared to reveal his surname was definitely a powerhouse, most likely a Dao Perfection powerhouse. This kind of person came and went openly, without any fear of anyone doing anything to him. What they wanted was this kind of momentum, this kind of Dao heart without any psychological barriers. Ning Cheng's cultivation was low, but when his cultivation reached a high level in the future, he would never change his appearance. Even if his cultivation was low, after reaching Dao confirming, he rarely changed his name unless it was a last resort. There was a sense of a real man who would not change his name or his surname when he was in a situation. This was also a kind of silent and subtle influence on his Dao runes of the Great Dao. After a long time, it naturally formed a kind of momentum and self-confidence. When comprehending the Dao runes and spirit techniques, it would become much more rounded. Just as Kong Xiushan had said about the owner of the Good Fortune Indestructible Axe, the owner of the Good Fortune Indestructible Axe could participate in the Good Fortune War. Needless to say, he was also an expert among experts. Would such an expert be stupid? Of course not. The reason why he had that kind of toughness and directness was because of his own great Dao. Maybe he could retreat, but what about after that? If his cultivation was low, he would still have room to retreat. At their level, retreating might be tantamount to being finished. It was a kind of tactfulness, but this kind of tactfulness didn't apply to experts standing at the top. Whatever they say, it doesn't matter if you admit it or not. As for going to the Thousand Thunder Void City, Ning Qing wasn't just talking about it. Even after more than 100,000 years, if the auction still existed, this person could still be found, let alone a person who didn't change his surname. What does Dao Lord think of Grand Essence Mountain? River Luo Sacred Sect Master Wang Huazhong also stood up. Some people had already noticed that whether it was Gong Wu or Wang Huazhong, when they addressed Ning Qing, they consciously removed the Ning from the front. From this, it could be seen that their recognition of Dao Lord Ning Qing had grown much stronger than before. Grand Essence Mountain? I know. This is the first sacred mountain sealed in the Grand Essence Realm. Ning Qing nodded and replied. After coming to the Grand Essence Realm for so long, he naturally wasn't unfamiliar with the Grand Essence Mountain. Grand Essence Mountain was ranked first among the 10 famous mountains of the Grand Essence Realm, slightly better than River Luo Sacred Sect's River Luo Mountain. It's just that Grand Essence Mountain was discovered late. All the major sects wanted it, but no one could get it. So they directly sealed it. Later, it became the Grand Essence Mountain Sacred Territory, just like the extraterritorial Spirit Spring. Every 1,000 years, a group of genius disciples would be selected to enter the Grand Essence Mountain Sacred Territory for cultivation. Ning Cheng, as a Tao Lord, has not received any benefits, but has made such a great contribution to my Grand Essence realm. I, Wang Huazhong, represent River Luo Sacred Sect. Only Pil Sage Ning can live in Grand Essence Mountain. Wang Huazhong spoke with a clear voice. The way he addressed Ning Cheng clearly expressed his intention. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.